Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with
go.
Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Monday, July 29th. Taylor Decker was extended, which we will get into. We will talk about that. Training camp is going on. First padded practice today. We weren't there. We will be there this week, though. We'll get into that. We're going to give away some training camp tickets on the show, get back to people. We'll discuss what happened today. John Macaroon, shout out to Easy. People were kind of tweeting about it, what happened, gave us, kind of a brief summary. We'll break that down. Dan Campbell spoke to the media. Players spoke to the media. And we're also going to have our good friend Raj, who knows all things.
Legend.
He's going to join us in the second hour to talk the MLB trade deadline and the future of the Tigers. But, yes, we're talking Tigers on the show. But for now, how we feeling, fellas?
Feel great. Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Boone.
Shall we say it now, boys? Football is back. We're back.
It's back.
It's officially back. Today was like, I know I keep saying football's back. I'm probably going to say it for the next month until it's officially games. Today was like news from 7 a.m. when I woke up until 20 minutes ago. And I've just been going. I'm back. We're back to where we were last year, boys. Come on, boys. It's unbelievable.
We're getting to that point. We're getting to that point. And I'm excited. I can't wait for Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be out there. I know today it was
baby.
Defense showed up today. That's at least what people were talking about. Defense showed up today. And we'll get into Aqib Talib's comments. He was giving some hype to the Lions secondary, specifically Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, what they can be as a duo. He spoke about it on K. Adams' show up in Adams. So we'll break that down. I want to pull up some of the notes here from John Macaroon and from Easy that we can break down. We'll get to the docs first. Obviously, Doc goes first. I mean, there's not even a question here. And then we'll get into Easy. But here's Doc. I mean, Doc put this out on X. We get rid of this lower third so we don't just completely block out Lukas here. Thank you. Here's the Doc. He said, who impressed today? Now, mind you, this is all pads on. So this is where you look at the defensive line. Now you can start to get more of an idea what the defense is going to look like. But he put on here, Terrion Arnold impressed. Carlton Davis, ironically, just talking about that duo in team periods, impressed. Amik Robertson, 3 corners already. Aiden Hutchinson, Nate Sudfeld, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
put some respect on the guy's name.
Nate Sudfeld.
There's 4. Yeah, that was bad. Nate Sudfeld, he said he impressed. 4 defensive players and 2 offensive players. So that's who John at least wrote on here, at least for his, 6 players.
Yeah.
That impressed today. We got more of a detail on specifically what happened with Easy. Easy kind of put more of his thoughts on there on really who stood out, who impressed. And Easy put on here that the defense came to play. He put out defense won the first padded practice, which is huge. We'll get into that. But he said training camp takeaways. The pads woke up a dog in Ennis Rakestraw. Carlton Davis struggled against speedier, shiftier guys, but had a pass breakup on JMO. Amik versus Iman will be interesting. Mosley starting on the first team. Malcolm Rodriguez had the biggest hit of the day, which, you know what, that's just no surprise. I mean, he's every camp. He's going to deliver some of those.
Can we just make it real quick? Shout out Easy going to camp today, sponsored by the Booner Path and Crunch Time Sports. So shout out to Easy. Shot him over some tickets. So yeah, he went. I'm not going to say it was for Crunch Time Sports, but he went for the Booner Path, sponsored by CT Sports.
Yeah, we don't claim him, but hey, you helped him out. So shout out
he's
to
a legend.
Yeah,
I thought there was a lot of things today, fellas. Though, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but I saw 100 different things. I like watching when the pads get on. You watch it, every single beat reporter and every single person that's there, whether it's a fan, and you just get a different perspective of different plays and different players. I saw so many different things. I know we're gonna break it all down. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about the thoughts of what you guys heard on Twitter. But it sounded like pads were on, and from what I heard, this Detroit Lions team is all of the hype. The Super Bowl contender. Now they have a defense, and the defense looks elite. Everything that has been talked about, that we've been talking about for 4 months since the season's ended, all of it's true. And now the fans are there to see it. Everything's starting to fall into place here, boys. I can't wait to get out there Wednesday. I'm buzzing. I'm shaking right now. That's probably because of a Red Bull, but I'm shaking.
I can't wait to watch this secondary, especially that nickel position, because we kind of talked about it last week with Emmanuel Mosley. If he's able to get in there with that first team rep and Brian Branch at safety, that just leaves a lot of interesting situations as far as where they're going to move Iffy, where they're going to move Amik. Because if Amik still does good and Emmanuel Mosley does good, it's a good problem to have, but it's a problem to figure out who's going to be in your starting lineup. So seeing how these guys continuously play over camp with the pads on, like you said, Booner, football season is back, and I can't wait to watch it unfold.
I know it's early, but hearing news about the cornerback room doing well early on and the battles that they're having is obviously great. And then one thing I'm excited about, you guys know, is Jameson Williams. He's looked great so far in every clip I've seen of him. He's running great routes. He's always catching the ball. He's getting open. So that's another thing. And then I'm a little surprised on the Nate Sudfeld news. I know that's got to cut Jeff deep, but I mean, you know, it is what it is.
I wonder what
some good news about a QB2 than none.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is true. But I wonder what like Nate Sudfeld going off looks like.
He's
just in a rhythm. Like I wonder what that man Sudfeld is just cooking. Like I wonder what that looks like.
Jeremy Reisman did write up, like I read like his off set or 11 or like his play-by-play on team drills, and he said Hendon Hooker was in the second team reps, Nate Sudfeld was third team reps, and like Sudfeld just played way better in third team, and like he was making passes and he just looked way better. I don't know if even that's a big difference though, Jeff. You could be like, well, yeah, he's on third. Like, no, like I think that doesn't matter, I don't think, because it's still second and third team. Like you're still not getting first reps.
I think Stephen Gilmore's out there. I think that's the corner.
You're in the NFL, dude. You make plays or you don't. You're gonna lose your spot.
Fair. Nate Sudfeld, respect. All right, if you played well today, respect.
Clipboard warrior, baby.
Hey, I will say this: Aiden Hutchinson, as advertised, pads came on. He was wrecking plays. Booner, you might be onto something.
I just want to know in the Detroit Lions community, the first person to say Detroit Lions defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson, Defensive Player of the Year, 2024. I was the very first person 2 months ago to say watch out for it. So hey, and they keep saying every day this kid just keeps getting better and better. Like it's gradual. And imagine what he's going to be week one.
Did you lock the bet in, Boone?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I told you guys. Usually, I do my football bets in August. I might have to do one in July here. I might have to do an early
stamp on it now.
He was wrecking plays. He was wrecking plays, and also on top of that, you had Taylor Decker get extended. Everyone was congratulating him. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But my thing is the defense. And Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, I saw some Matthew Betts love out there. That's who I'm curious. I got to read more on what Matthew Betts was doing. Hey, I got a pizza on the line. All right, so I got to do the research. Me and Booner have a bet if he makes the roster or not. If he doesn't, I win. If he does, Booner wins. But the defense, boys, we talk about it. To be a legit Super Bowl team, you need this defense to be, you don't need them to be the best defense in the NFL, but can we get top half, maybe top 10? Top 10 would be a fair expectation, given the run defense is already going to be one of the better run defenses in the league. But what do they look like getting after the quarterback? How many sacks can they total up? Can they be top 5 in sacks? So on and so forth. The secondary. So the fact that the defense showed out today, it is great news. Carlton Davis. I remember Jeff Olson. I want to give credit to him because he's in the chat always. He's a Bucs fan. He said Carlton Davis is someone who does really well against bigger receivers. And then here's Easy tweeting out smaller, shiftier guys. He was struggling. Like, that's not anything we don't know. And true X wide receivers, he's going. I think he'll be fine. But hey, this is great. The defense is what you wanted to. If you went on social media today and all that was being reported is, the offense, Jared Goff just absolutely picking apart the secondary, we would be concerned because we know the offense is great. We want to know more about this defense. How good can they be? And boys, we got some good news today with them showing out. So
the crazy thing too, I don't like. Listen to some of the player interviews too. Like Frank was asked, like, "Hey, the offense is clicking on all cylinders." So like the offense is out there playing very well, supposedly there's been no interceptions. Jared Goff and the offense has thrown no interceptions through camp so far on every single day, all 5 practices, not one interception. And then you hear the other side where you're like, all right, the defense is the secondary up to speed. But then you hear all these things where like the secondary, Terrion Arnold's pass breakups, Carlton Davis has a big day. Anders Rakestraw has a big day. All these guys, the safeties obviously are big time. No Brian Branch yet, but like you keep hearing like the defense is kind of stepping up. The linebackers are playing at an elite level. Defensive line starting to come in its own with Terrell Williams. Like, and then you hear the offense as well. It's like the offense is still clicking on all cylinders. Like, I feel like now that the defense through training camp is this good and it's potentially getting into this top 15 defense we keep talking about, like, think about, like, this offense has been top 5 for 2 years in a row. Now they actually have a look to, like, through training camp, to, like, a legit defense on the other side of the ball to go out there and to compete against for 2 months. Like that, I feel like that makes your offense that much better. Like these wide receivers are going to compete at a higher level. The running back, Sam Laporte, is going to have to go out there. The offensive line finally has a defensive look on the D line a little bit more than they have in the past. I think it, like, iron sharpens iron with this, and the Lions haven't really, like, they've been good, but they really haven't had that look. And it's just like it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not two different reports, but both things can be true, and they're both playing at an elite level, which is crazy to hear.
Yeah, I mean, the defense, it needs to step up, because I know it's a cliche saying, but defense wins championship. And you look around just the NFC and the AFC, if Brandon Ayuk returns to the 49ers, will they add another weapon with Ricky Pearsall? So I do think that's something you have to worry about, especially a team with a weak secondary. The Philadelphia Eagles added Saquon Barkley. You look over in the AFC, the Chiefs, who are the team to beat, that if you're going to make it to the Super Bowl, you're going to expect to play them. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, they added a ton of weapons. And same thing with the Texans. They had Stephon Diggs. So all these teams that are getting better around the NFL improve their offenses. Now, Houston improved their defense, adding Danielle Hunter, but you really haven't seen that many teams revamp their defense like the Lions did. So to have a balance there, to Jeff's point, they don't need to be the best defense in the NFL. But I think if you want to win a Super Bowl in a league with Patrick Mahomes in it, you have to have a defense that's top 10 or at least down the stretch playing top 10 style defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously we were all looking forward to the cornerback room, and like I said, hearing them do well early on is definitely great. The next thing I'm going to be looking forward to is that defensive line making noise, because that's going to be the biggest step. I think obviously we got some stars and some hopefully blooming stars in the cornerback room, but we still need that defensive line to cause pressure and make some noise too. So I'm going to be looking for the Davenports, the James Houston. I know Brad spoke about it earlier, that those guys have had really good camps and whatnot, but those are going to be like the pivotal guys, I think, to making the defense good, because we do have some dogs in the secondary and a lot of depth. So good news out there early is great.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry, you have something?
No, I was just going to mention. I mean, this is a different point, but Rakestraw. I mean, can we give him some love? I mean, he was getting some love there, and Lucas brought this up when he was drafted, so I'll give credit to you there. But his ability to just lay hits, and I think you really are getting to see Rakestraw what he can be now with pads on. I think that's when you want to see Rakestraw with pads and how physical of a player he is. And Lucas, he came out day one of pads and he impressed. Like, I think that's big time for a guy that was kind of quiet just because he was still rehabbing a little bit. He was limited a lot. Now he's with pads on, and now people are saying he looks good out there with pads. It's great.
Yeah, and I think that's why when you look at Rakestraw coming out of the draft, like, we saw him falling down the boards as the kind of the draft process went on. I think because, one, he had the injury, but you knew Ennis Rakestraw wasn't ever going to be a guy that you could line up on the X like Carlton Davis. Now, what he lacked there, he was such a sure thing as far as just the play style he had at the nickel position. If he were to play, like, that's why you get him in the second round. You don't see nickel corners being drafted in the first round, because you know that they're never going to be able to guard the guys that you're drafting in the first round at the wide receiver spot. When you look at guys like Josh Downs, Tank Dell, the slot receivers, those guys are drafted second, third rounds because they're never going to be that X wide receiver. So when you get a guy like Ennis Rakestraw, he's not going to be able to guard Justin Jefferson. But when you have the Tank Dells and those guys of the world, that's where he can really use his physicality to disrupt their games. And I think if he can do that, him and Terrion just growing alongside each other, having a guy on the inside and the outside. Oh, you have Brian Branch behind him. This is like something that could turn into a Legion of Boom type of thing, where I don't think they'll ever be to that level, but just a secondary that can just shut any team down. It really becomes a personality and just the identity of this defense. I think it could be that for sure.
And the thing too coming out, remember guys, OTAs and mini camps when everyone, they just kept making the comments like, you're going to find things out when the pads get on. Like, when we're going to start hitting, you're going to figure things out quick. It's only day one. And like, you hear Ennis Rakestraw, like, pads come on, this guy, like, he's already out there making plays. To Gentry's point real quick, the defensive line, when the defensive line, the reports coming out today, we're going to listen to some videos later in the show of a guy like Frank and Alim McNeill talking about some of these guys on the D line. Today, even like Mekhi Wingo, like Alim McNeill had a ton of good things to say about Mekhi Wingo already today and how aggressive he is and how good he is with pads on already. Levi O's been playing really well already with pads. Broderick Martin's taking first team reps with no DJ Reader with pads on, and they're saying he's dominating. Like, there are guys out there on the D line now. Marcus Davenport, Alim said Marcus Davenport was out
Take
there,
it.
and
We'll
Marcus
take it.
Davenport, he said he loves what Marcus Davenport's about, and he's just about being like just playing with anger and aggression, and like he doesn't like he's taken a ton from him because of the way he plays, and it's like, hey, now you have pads on, and on this defensive line, yeah, the mini camp talk was cool. They were like, hey, wait till the pads get on. The pads got on. These guys are coming out and showing out day one, and from what I'm hearing, like these one-on-ones, these team drills. This defensive line, I don't know if it's Terrell Williams that has them going, and kind of like you'll hear Frank talks about Terrell Williams later, and we'll talk about it in the show. But Terrell Williams has these guys going, and they look good. Like Mekhi Wingle's playing second team reps with no DJ Reader. Broderick Martin's in their first team. Levi O's in their first team. Davenport's second team. Like these guys are like they have some dudes. It feels like a little bit now. So I don't know. Hey. This is just the reports what we're hearing, but they said wait till the pads came on, and I'm still getting the same reports that this defensive line might be something. We might have something, boys. You got rid of the Aquara brothers, and they got something. How about that?
You said Davenport second team?
It's just because he's still coming off the injury, they said. They said that he's just getting
working him back, Lucas.
Yeah,
working him
they're
back.
acclimating him.
Okay.
Either way, it doesn't really bode well. It doesn't really bode well for you
said
because
that,
first team's Levi O. So either way, you're just
well, DJ's out. Yeah, like we said, you got to experiment. This is
up.
where you got to see what he's got.
Let's be real, Bachi. You should have went one way or the other because you've set yourself up now. If Levi O gets the spot, if Davenport gets the spot, both ways, it's like, you made it both of them.
If for my narratives to lie how they should, the Lions will, when DJ Reader's not in there, they'll plug in Broderick, and they'll go either that before the season starts or at the trade deadline, they'll get another guy instead of Marcus Davenport. And Marcus Davenport can play the rotational spot that I think he's perfect for, but starting, no.
I know. When I heard Brad gassing up who he wants to, or who he's most excited to see, I'm pretty sure he said on 97.1 was Levi O. I immediately thought of Lucas. But if DJ Reader isn't obviously going to be a go week one, who do you guys want to line up next?
Broderick. Let the big fella go. They said he's back. He's lost weight. He's a dog now. I've been saying it since February. Let that man Broderick off the leash and let him go get after. Who do we play? Matthew Stafford. Go get that. Ooh. All right. Sorry.
Hey,
I'm for Broderick. No one cares.
I'm for Broderick, but again, I don't want it to make it seem like if Levi's out there, I'm going to be like, oh, Levi, like just pray not. Like if Levi's out there, I want Levi to succeed. But if I'm more comfortable in a guy like Broderick, just because I think he's shown that he's really trying to get after this year and show what he's worth, losing all that weight. And I do think that, yeah, he doesn't have the snaps that Levi has. I know Levi's had limited snap, but Broderick is hardly any. I would love to see what Broderick would look out there, just to at least see it.
I don't know if
it's too early.
I don't know if I want to see Broderick at week one in that game. Like it would be a big game.
You want to see Levi though?
He's taking the snaps for DJ Reader right now.
I don't know.
They would have Levi taking those snaps. They've got Broderick Martin taking them.
Yeah, we'll see. It's probably going to be Broderick. You know what? I appreciate the work he's put in. He's working his ass off. I do hope he's ready. By the looks, physically, he looks ready. We obviously will go there Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll look at Broderick, and we'll get more of an opinion on that. But we'll see. Maybe Broderick goes out there, cause some havoc week one. Yep. Maybe he goes out there.
Very political answer from you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Taylor Decker because Taylor Decker got extended. So you brought up 97.1 Brad Holmes. He went on there and he talked about Taylor Decker. He pretty much just threw it out. Hey, we extended him. Alim McNeill, we're trying to get that extension done as well. Taylor Decker stays in Detroit. We talked about it a lot at least this offseason, about him getting a new contract. He gets a 3-year, $60 million contract to stay in Detroit. He had a 1 year left on his deal, so he'll be a free agent. Now he's extended 3 more years. So my takeaway on this, fellas, I'm glad they got it done, at least for the contract. I know we said, what would he take a discount, all this stuff. I think the way Brad kind of lined it up, it makes a lot of sense. You still have players that are on their rookie deals. I mean, even Panay still under his rookie contract. His contract doesn't kick in yet. Aiden Hutchinson won't kick in yet. And even if he does get extended, I think it'll either be the first year or it won't kick in. And same with other players. So I'm not upset at this. I think it's. I saw some comments on social media when it was announced because national outlets were reporting it. People are like, "Oh, the Lions are going to enter cap hell." It's like, well, yeah, every team that spends money, yeah, they're spending money. But I think this is money well spent. I like Taylor Decker. You don't want to bank on, even though I love Gio Manu, you don't want to bank on him just assuming he's going to take the spot in a year. You know, you have a top 10 to 15 tackle right now. You're not going to wait and be like, well, we'll just let Decker go and Gio will just be ready. You don't know that. You don't know if Gio will even work out. You know what Taylor Decker is as a player. You know what he represents. He's been here for a while. And now he, assumingly, will get to finish his career in Detroit. So I like this deal. You keep this offensive line together. And they extended Graham, Panay, Taylor Decker. It's clearly the strength and identity of this football team, boys. And I love the contract extension.
Yeah, I mean, the thing too is when you do look at it, like he was due what $19 million cap hit this year in 2024, and they extend him for 20 a year going forward, and it's not even fully guaranteed. It's half of it's guaranteed right now. So my guess is like it's like 32 million guaranteed. I think it's like not the exact number, but just a little bit under. So what is it? Incentives, or there's probably going to be an opt out, or there's going to be opportunities. You know, if he gets hurt or something happens, I'm sure. But like Taylor Decker, the thing is, like, I know some people probably don't like the money with it. And now he's like the 9th highest paid tackle, but it's the same thing with like the Jared Goff contract or the St. Brown contract or any of these big contracts. It's you sign him now. Like Tristan Wirfs is going to get a deal. He's not holding out, but he's not practicing right now. He's at training camp. He's just not practicing, waiting for a contract. Some of these guys are going to sit here and like they're going to start getting contracts over the next year or so. And Taylor Decker is going to he's going to end up being the 15th highest paid tackle in a year. And that's just the way, like right now with the salary cap going up, that's the way this is going to work. So yeah, right now it might look like, oh, whoa, 3 years, 60 million. Like that seems like a lot, but he's one of the best at his position, top 15 tackle. And he said it today, like he feels like he's in his prime right now. Like he's just at his best. And like outside of an injury happening, he's probably going to be the same player he is now that he will be for the next 3 years. So like you have the number one offensive line in the NFL, and he's a big part of it. He's your left tackle. So obviously like Panay is going to be at right, I'm sure, for the next 3 years, but like there's like those are guys you have to keep. You built from the trenches. Like this football team, Klotz says it all the time. The identity of this football team is running the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You have to keep these guys. And Taylor Decker, like we talked about it a month ago about the potential extension. And I feel like we all agreed that like if it's at the right price, get it done, because you want to keep Taylor Decker here. You want to keep Decker, Panay, Graham. If Frank can stay healthy and doesn't retire, you want to keep Frank. Like that's your number one. Like that's your number one position group on your football team. That's how you win games, is this offensive line. And if you can keep a guy like Taylor Decker who doesn't want to leave, this dude like he said today, he was like, I was never going to hold out. I want to play for the Detroit Lions. Like I was good. The deal was going to get done. I was never going to hold out. So I think it was a great job from Brad. I would have taken this deal 100 times out of 100 times for the next 3 years while you're chasing 3 Super Bowls to have Taylor Decker, Panay, and Graham Glasgow and Frank Ragnow sitting up front there every single time.
Yeah, I think when I saw the contract at first, I was like, "Ooh, like that's more expensive than I would have thought going into it." But at the end of the day, it's the position of left tackle. Taylor Decker, I think, to your guys' point, is a top half left tackle in the NFL, and on a Super Bowl roster, a weakness at your left tackle position could easily cost you a Super Bowl run. So I think Taylor Decker, just the experience that he's had in the city and the position that he plays, and to your point, Booner, in 2-3 years, that contract is going to be completely average around the NFL as far as tackle goes. So Taylor Decker, I'm happy to have him around because, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for example, they got a guy, Graham Barton, 26 overall. I think he could be a really good tackle in the NFL, but stepping foot in the Detroit Lions room right now, if you're to draft a guy like that next year, if you moved off Decker, I doubt he plays at the level that Taylor Decker does. So this just keeps the identity of the team going, like Boone said.
And I'm all in favor of, Taylor Decker, and I like Taylor Decker. I'm all in favor of keeping the best offensive line together. And I think kind of the way Brad's done it, he's rewarded his players. So Taylor has earned that. Just anything for you guys that surprised you about the contract?
Not really surprising. It's just surprising to see that Brad Holmes is signing Taylor Decker, and then on the radio is like, yeah, we're about to get Alim McNeill done, and Jerry Jones is yet to even pick up a single phone. That's what when I see all these things happening, it's like you look at Brandon Ayuk holding out. You look at CeeDee Lamb holding out, Jamar Chase holding out. You see all these teams where they're notable teams that if they really got their shit together, I think the 49ers clearly already are a contender. You look at the Cowboys and the Bengals, they're kind of on the outside looking in. And it's just odd to see teams like that just are constantly having problems, but the Lions are just getting ahead of it before there's even a situation there. And I think that's what the Lions are doing well, and the Howie Roseman and the Eagles have always done well. Like, they just get guys signed right now, and they've been able to keep a very good core of players around for a long time. We think about Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey. Like, they kept that group around for a while, and that's how they did it.
There is the sense too, like the culture that's been built with these guys. Like, Frank went on today and said that, like, players get a feeling to where if you go out there and compete and you play at a very high level, like, Brad's going to reward that. And when you have like, that's how you win football games. When you have players that know, like, hey, if I go out there and do my job at the highest level, like, I'm going to get rewarded for it. Where you go to some teams like Dallas or San Francisco or like these different teams, like, yeah, they might reward some people, but you see Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, like multiple guys sitting out that played at a high level, and they're just like, hey, we have the money, or we might have the money now, but like, we just don't know if we want you a part of our future because we might have to pay someone. It's like, no, like, Brad, I feel like Brad's doing it the right way. He gets these contracts. He spent $500 million this offseason in extensions. So, like, and it's all probably worth it because he gets these contracts done so early and before all these other teams, where it's like Jared Goff has dropped 4 or 5 spots already in the cap hit, or average per year thing. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown's dropped 2 or 3 already. All of these guys just keep dropping because he got them done so early. And it's going to be the same thing for Taylor Decker. Like, Brad sets a tone and then, like, hey, this is what we're about. And it shows, like, Terrion Arnold, Aiden Hutchinson. If you go out there and play good football, we're going to find a way to pay you. Like, we're going to figure out a way to pay you. We don't know how we're going to do it, but we will find a way. And that's like what he's doing with these guys. Like, and like 3 years, he could have went out there and said, let's do a 4-year deal. He did 3 years because he knows, like, like Jeff said, it lines up with guys like Hutch. It lines up with the rookie class this year to where you can extend them then. Like, he's so strategic and smart about it.
What about this, guys? This is what I thought about today when I made the Taylor Decker video. Because we assume that Gio is the future tackle. And you have Mahogany, you have Glasgow, but here's and of course, Kevin Zeitler. Look at the guys that are on shorter term deals. Kevin Zeitler, 1 year left on his deal. Graham, a couple years, but he's getting a little older. You have potentially an opportunity for Gio Manu to maybe play guard. Like, there is that possibility as well. And you have Mahogany. You have, it's going to be more, and then Colby Sorsdahl, of course, who is use him at tackle, but he could play guard. So, and we'll see. I think he'll be more backup tackle, but they have a lot of versatile offensive linemen. So, just assuming that, even if you re-sign Taylor Decker, when Kevin Zeitler is gone, you have a couple guys that you'd feel comfortable putting them at that guard spot. So, I don't think it's like, oh, Gio got to wait 3 more years. I think it'll be good for his development. But I think there's an opportunity, and they even mentioned it to Gio when he was first drafted. Like, they were putting him, he was taking some reps at guard, just kind of getting him used to that. I think that's also a possibility too. Is some guys maybe playing guard that were drafted to be tackles. Like, they have some versatility on all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think they've been drafting these guys. It's like, hey, we know what we have, who we have at the offensive line position right now. They're at the luxury, like, and I think it's like this for a few different position groups. You're at the luxury, you could just build behind guys. And like Frank could retire. If you win a Super Bowl this year, I've said it before, I'm going to be shocked if Frank Ragnow retired. Because he's just trying to get a Super Bowl and saying, hey, my toe is done. Like, I can't do it. Like, he's going to eventually retire. There's a reason Kevin Zeitler got signed to 1 year as well. It's because they knew, like, you're drafting these guys. They know the kind of the direction they're going. One of those, whether it's Mahogany, Colby Sorsdahl, one of those guys are going to step into his position next year. I think that's just a fact. Like, I don't think they re-sign Zeitler. I think they end up saying, hey, we need one of these young guys to step in. And they're just developing. Like, they're actually deep at offensive line when you do consider it and think about the future. Like, they have guys behind them that could turn into be dudes, and you have guys on a couple year contracts where if a guy goes down or retires or Zeitler doesn't come back and Graham wants to get out earlier, I don't know. That's why I'm interested in the Taylor Decker details, because it's 3 years, $60 million, but $32 million guaranteed. Like, how does that work? Does that mean, like, after year 2 we can look at it like, I'm interested. $32 million guaranteed, that's half of the contract.
I'd be interested. I think when looking specifically at the interior of that offensive line, come draft time next year, obviously injuries can change things, but I think that would be just the glaring weakness outside of they don't get a defensive end. So I think Brad, like, this time next year, I think NFL draft time, like, Detroit Lions fan, just get ready for a bunch of offensive line upgrades as far as an interior.
Yeah.
Because I think even like you're probably not going to – you could go get a wide receiver if you want to, but you're not going to get a running back. You're not going to get corners anytime soon. Safeties, no. Linebackers, probably not unless Anzo retires, but you can get one in free agency. You're looking at that defensive line and offensive line at that point. So I think like the guards in the second round, like Brad's going to be all over that. I think that's where – and then you got a competition. Yeah,
get yourself a center.
Yeah, get yourself a Jackson Powers Johnson next year. There'll be some guy like that, and I think in the second round, like that'd be perfect for what the Lions do.
Yeah, I agree.
Wouldn't hate it at all. Keep
I think
building
it's
the line.
interesting.
The best unit on our team. Just keep refreshing it. Keep those guys. Keep the depth going.
Yeah, centers. I'm with you there. And that's. I mean, Steve even said, I don't know if this is pertaining to what you just said, but they don't have a replacement for Frank right now at all. I mean,
That's
have guys
the only one on the offensive
Yeah.
line. I think they're like, all right, we don't have anyone that can step it. Like if Frank goes down this year for a game
Graham.
or two, Graham moves over, and then you have, you can bring in Mahogany or you can bring in Colby, but the center is the questionable. That's the go draft one.
Mhm.
Get whoever the center is at Alabama. I'm sure we'll take him. I bet you he's pretty good. Even though Saban's gone, I bet you the Alabama center's a dog.
Anyone in the SEC. Well, where did Frank play? Was he Arkansas?
Arkansas,
Yeah.
SEC, baby.
Yeah, anyone in the SEC, you'll be all right. Dan Campbell spoke to the media, fellas. I'm going to get into some. I'm going to play some of his some of the footage, what he spoke about. He talked about Brian Branch and Iffy kind of battling for that safety spot, and he also mentioned Darius Fountain. He gave him some love, maybe a little bit of sleeper, man, maybe a little bit of a sleeper.
I think Darius Fountain's a fan of the show, by the way. I will continue to say that. He always likes our stuff on Instagram, and he's retweeted our stuff today on Twitter, and his whole team was retweeting our stuff. So I'm interested. I think he watches the show.
Yeah, you know what? We're pro Darius Fountain.
We are.
As all Lions fans should. But here's Dan Campbell speaking about Mr. Darius Fountain. Let me take this. I have to remember to do this so we don't get the boys out of here. But here's Dan Campbell.
Yeah, he's caught our eye. He's caught my eye. Like I see him. And I told him that yesterday. He is making plays. And the other thing is he's doing some things on special teams that is catching our eye too. So that's a good sign. And have a big receiver that runs pretty good for that size, and he plays physical. He kind of brings a different game in that room, and could potentially help us on special teams. That's a good sign. So he's in a good spot. He's.
Hey, we know this from Dan Campbell. Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a time where Dan gets serious, and he's probably I don't want to see that side of Dan Campbell. The players get to when he's frustrated. But I do know this about Dan. If he's giving you praise in a press conference like this, he means it. He doesn't just throw that out. Remember DPJ didn't say much early on in OTAs because he knew like he's got to get caught up to speed.
Yep.
He's throwing it out there for Darius Fountain and giving him compliments, giving him credit. That's a huge sign for Darius Fountain, boys. Huge.
You know whose name? I don't want to start a controversy here. This is the wide receiver 4 battle, right? Like that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the wide receiver 4 battle because Khalif, I'm putting at 3.
Much anticipated, by the way. Yeah.
For me, it is. Let's be honest. I've been talking about this for months now. I've been waiting for this competition and this battle. I'm hearing everyone's name for this battle besides one player, and I don't mean to single anyone out, but the guy who was supposed to be a top 3 wide receiver on this team, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I haven't heard what's going on. Like we're talking about Darius Fountain now, and we're talking about Maurice Alexander's name's been popping up a bunch the last couple of days. Antoine Green's names have been popping up a bunch. The only name that's not popping up is DPJ. So like that's where I'm not worried because I think some of these other guys are stepping up and they're like they're showing up. And I can't wait on Wednesday to go there and see some of these wide receivers and see what they can do. Because I feel like you're going to be able to tell a lot in person, and especially as the pads go on and you're starting to see more plays happen. But I'm just like I'm interested to see what this wide receiver 4 battle is because the praise is all going to Darius Fountain right now. And Coach Walk said it's the first day, Booner. It's not. It's day 5 of training camp. Today was day 5, practice number 5. Whether it was the first day of pads or not, you've heard about guys making plays for the last 5 practices. So we're into it now when it comes to making plays, especially wide receivers. We've seen a lot of video. We've seen JMO for the last 5 days. We've seen Amon-Ra. We've seen Khalif. We've seen Sam Laporta. We've seen Jahmyr Gibbs. We've seen everyone. Wide receivers with pads, I don't care. We can look back the last 4 days and say, were you catching passes without pads? Because you can do that. These guys have been doing it. I haven't seen a certain guy do it. So I think Darius Fountain, Antoine Green, like, I'm in. And if you can make plays on special teams, boys are making play. Dan Campbell's keeping you. He's keeping you on this football team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think this is like a perfect situation where I think preseason will really show what it's all about, because you're going to see all these guys have an equal shot. And I think you see guys last year like Chase Cota and Dylan Drummond, like they were showing out all camp, but yet the vets kind of still get that wave. And I think Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think will have kind of like that veteran. He'll have a little bit up on him. But if these guys, like if Darius Fountain goes out there and is making plays in the preseason, it's definitely going to be closer than Donovan Peoples-Jones probably expected. But I just want whoever the wide receiver 4 is, I don't care. I just want him to win it. Like, you know what I mean? Like whoever's the best wide receiver, go out there and get it. If you're wide receiver 5, if DPJ's wide receiver 5 or 6, I really don't care. I just want the best 4, 5, 6 wide receivers on the team.
Yeah. No, I mean, like Booner said, I obviously hearing nothing about DPJ obviously isn't great, but Booner was boasting about it more than hearing good news about Fountain here. So I don't know.
No, that's not it. I'm pumped about
you didn't even compliment him. You just went straight to ripping on DPJ. But no, that's all fair. And it's all fair. 5 days in, it's still nothing good. But either way, if Fountain ends up being that wide receiver 4, like Dan said, he has that special teams edge to him, and with all the new rules going on, it may be a need for them. And like Lukas said, I'm kind of under the impression like whichever one of them is the best fit for the team at being a wide receiver 4 is fine with me. It's not like I'm live or dying on DPJ panning out. I just thought that would be, the guy at wide receiver 4. But like I said, there being no news about him not being anything really out there about him is definitely not good after 5 days, Boone. So I will agree with you on that.
I'm backing you up, Gentry. No, I'm backing you up. DPJ.
He just agreed with me.
DPJ.
Hey,
I still think he's wide receiver 4, by the way, but
well, you know what? We heard a lot about. Hey, we heard Darius Fountain though is better than these players, by the way. But we got to remember what Lukas said. He's a I don't want to. Veteran sounds like he's been in the league for 10 years, but he's been in the league longer than Fountain.
The average career for a wide receiver in the NFL is probably like 2 seasons.
So he's a vet.
I think any average player in general is like, what is it, Klotzy? There's like, it's like
2-3 years. Yeah.
It's an insane number where it's super low.
So DPJ, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I'm still dying on this hill that DPJ will still be playing snaps, be a contributor this season. I'm not going to look too much into it. I'm actually really happy for Darius Fountain. I think he deserves an opportunity. He mentioned how Khalif Raymond motivated him to keep going and keep working. So I am happy for him. And see, Booner, take notes. I'm giving compliments and
no, I mean you wouldn't have gone this route if Gentry didn't say that. You just found your. I know. I love you boys. I know how this thing. I know how people roll. You're good at media. That was great radio from you. That was great radio from you, Jeff. That was great radio. Find a week.
Was I wrong though, Boone? You kind of just did on DPJ that whole time. You said one good thing about that he plays special teams. He plays special teams. Could be a wide receiver 4. Good. Then just went back to shitting on DPJ.
No, I started off saying Fountain's a fan of the show. I'm a fan of him. I think like him, Antoine Green, I think is going to step up in that play.
Doesn't matter.
I think these guys are. I think me giving them the credit, saying that those are the 3 guys that are in the battle for wide receiver 4, already shows enough about what I think about those guys. I'm just questioning. DPJ came in. It was supposed to be the savior, wide receiver number 3, not even 4. He was supposed to be the Josh Reynolds.
I think he was 4.
I agree. But people are acting like, hey, he's going to be the savior from Josh Reynolds. Jeff, that's where I'm like, okay, what's the real story here? Yeah, these guys are great.
The savior from Josh Reynolds is J-Mo.
The real story is
it's not DPJ. No one expected that.
Everyone expected him to take Josh Reynolds' spot. Like that was like the fan base.
You talking J-Mo or DPJ?
I'm talking DPJ. J-Mo's supposed to take a step to be an absolute dog and be one of the best.
There's the wide receiver too, though.
Yeah, I just think like you guys see what I'm saying here.
Yeah,
like,
no, I do.
Come on, now we're getting to like you guys understand what I'm saying. Like that type of player that Josh Reynolds was for that.
But you're saying, Josh Reynolds last year was the wide receiver 2. That's what they're saying. So he wasn't taking. I get what you're saying though, Boone.
See what I'm saying here. Come on,
J-Mo is. You look at him talent wise as the wide receiver.
Different level.
I think.
So Josh Reynolds would be the wide receiver 3.
We're just getting.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is what I think the Lions were looking for, what Marvin Jones was supposed to be for them last year. Marvin Jones, he didn't make any noise in camp, but he got the starting spot week 1. He had I think a drop, which resulted in a fumble, and then he retired. And then they never got that back, and then they acquired Donovan Peoples-Jones. And I don't think they planned on having Marvin Jones starting all 17 games for him, but early on, especially with J-Mo not being in the lineup, you can throw Marvin Jones out there because you can trust him. And I think that's all they have in plan for Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's a big X-wide receiver. Go out there and catch you a jump ball if you need him to, and more so just for blocking. So I think that's all. He was the Marvin Jones replacement that no one really thought of.
But saying that no one was expecting stuff out of people were expecting 400 yards, 500 yards out of DPJ this year going into this season. That I think that was a.
Let me defend it. That was me.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of fans that thought that.
And I'll speak for myself. What I meant by that is we all agree J-Mo is going to take that wide receiver 2 spot. So my thought process was, well, Josh Reynolds' production, J-Mo is going to take a chunk of that, obviously, playing way better and being more involved, not being suspended and taking that jump we expect him to. But I thought DPJ would be like the other guy. It'd be Amon-Ra, J-Mo, DPJ. Khalif and DPJ would kind of be like, okay, together we'll supplement whatever you need elsewhere, besides the main guys. And obviously, so far we haven't heard anything as much as we'd like to. So I'm still high on DPJ, but I get what you were saying, Boone. There, I'll definitely say I was one of those people. I didn't expect him to come out and get 800 yards, but I thought he'd give me 400 or 500.
400 or 500. I think that was the conversation too, because J-Mo had about 350 plus, and Josh Reynolds had almost 600 or 600. So you're looking for 150 more yards. So J-Mo goes and gets that 150 to get to 600 plus. You're like, all right, we still need the J-Mos. Let's replace that 350 from J-Mo that he had last year. Who's taking that? The 400. That was going to be DPJ. Yeah, but now that you're looking at it and you're going into camp, there's a battle now for wide receiver 4. And going back to OTAs and minicamp, we go back to that conversation when Dan Campbell was doing a press conference and the doc asked him the question, and DPJ just hasn't been brought up. And the answer that he had for DPJ was, yeah, we hope maybe something happens, maybe where he's here for a reason, but we're still we got to see something from. That still makes you go, okay, and you still haven't heard anything 5 days into training camp, and you're starting to hear things that I keep hearing Antoine Green's having good days. Maurice Alexander's been in a bunch of articles. All these guys have been talked about. It is, I'm not taking away from those guys. I'm just, hey, DPJ was supposed to be that guy. Where he's the vet in this group. Where is he at? But I think it's good that these guys are going to battle it out, and the best is going to come out of it. That's what I'm excited about.
Wednesday and Thursday, and we're there. DPJ will look over. He'll see the fellas and be like, "It's time. It's time."
I hope. Hey, Michigan man, I'm a Michigan man. So
deepest catch right in front of Booner.
Yeah, he just one hand catch right in front of Boone. Looks.
Hey, this guy though. Shout out Shift God. I think Antoine Green ends up somehow coming out with that job. I think Antoine Green ends up.
I wouldn't be surprised on it because he's got some burst now.
Yeah,
that 75-yard against the Panthers last preseason. He's got some juice.
I like Antoine Green.
He's a little bit above a jag, I think. He would have been catching probably 30, 40 passes for Kansas City last year.
Yeah. I mean, what did Watson get? Didn't he catch 30?
Probably 20, 30 passes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Well, Dan Campbell spoke on the safety battle. Iffy and Brian Branch, them two battling it out for that spot. To be a starting safety, which I'm assuming they're all going to play. I mean, there's so many looks the Lions can give with how many guys they have in the secondary. But here's Dan Campbell on kind of that battle and how's it been going. But let's hear what he had to say here.
Well, there again, it's nothing is set in stone yet, and some of that is we really feel like the safety position could be really good for Branch. We certainly know he can play nickel, but it's one of those, man, is that the best thing for him and for us? Now we sort this whole thing out, and if he is doing what he's doing and he's continuing to grow and we don't have a nickel that comes to the forefront, well, it could very easily be, if he's your safety and then Branch is back to nickel. So we have a lot of moving parts here. But right now, it really is, when Branch gets back and is ready to go, which he's in a good place, He's coming. His rehab is going well. He's out there and walked through. And you're talking about a competition between those two at the safety position. Well, there again.
They have it. I mean, safety battle. What, Klotz?
There ain't no safety battle, okay? That if he wants to get on the field, which as he should, he's better hope that nickel spot is looking extra vulnerable and Amik Robertson, Manuel Mosley, because you do not take Brian Branch off the field. You don't. If you're talking about head-to-head, one of these guys is going to be the starting safety, one of these guys is going to be the rotational piece. That rotational piece better be Ife Melifonwu, because Brian Branch, in my opinion, could very well be the best defensive player on the field. And you watching it to 49ers, Kyle Shanahan's even spoke on it. They had formation to keep Brian Branch off the field. And watching that defensive performance, especially in the second half, you could tell. So if Brian Branch is on the sideline, I understand if he had a hell of a back stretch of the season. If you're taking Brian Branch off the field for Ife Melifonwu, I think it's a mistake. That guy is just a playmaker. He's one of the most intelligent football players that have stepped foot in the Detroit Lions secondary, and I don't know how long. He's just a playmaker in the run and the pass game. So competition at the safety, in my opinion, is seeing how much Ife Melifonwu can take snaps away from Brian Branch, because that boy better be out there as much as possible. I would love to see Ife at nickel, but if they think
I don't even know if he.
No,
I think there's too many guys. There's way too many guys at the nickel, like battling.
Then you figure it out, but you keep Brian Branch on the field. Figure it out. You keep Brian Branch on the field.
I agree. I do agree.
Think about this though. Like Brian Branch hasn't even put pads on yet. Like Brian Branch has been limited for the last week since training camp started, and they're already like, hey, yeah, Brian Branch is a safety. Like we're moving him to safety, and he's already in a battle with Ife, and he hasn't even been going full speed yet. And if he has, and like, there's people in the chat, like I can't remember who it was. Let me get the shout out real quick. All right, I can't find it that fast. There's someone, like, people in the chat are like, people are acting like Ife was bad. No, Ife was really good. Brian Branch is one of the best safeties in the NFL, and he was on the field for 20 snaps in the NFC Championship game because he was playing nickel, and Kyle Shanahan, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, was able to scheme him out of the game. Like, that is what happened in the NFC Championship game. If you're Brad Holmes, if you're Dan Campbell, you're like, hey, we're like, winning football games is chess, not checkers, boys. Like we're playing chess here. If you want to keep your best football player on the field, you have to move you have to put him at safety. Like you have to move him, and that's just what it is. And if he's going to be the guy that ends up probably taking the blunt end of it, and he's still a really good player, so you're gonna have to figure out what to do with him. But like now you have an absolute battle for the nickel position. I think Brian Klotz, I'm with you. Like Brian Branch, you could say there's a battle. He's going to win that spot. Like if he wants it, he's going to take it. The only way that it gets switched and Brian Branch goes back to nickel is if they don't feel like Amik or Anish Rakestraw or Emmanuel Mosley is as good as Brett. Like if they're even close to the Brian Branch level at nickel, and then they're going to say, hey, we have to go back. That's the only way.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with Lukas too. I don't think there's much of a battle at all. I think if you have Brian Branch, you play him. If he's out there, you play him. You start him at safety. But like he brought up, Brian Branch might not even be healthy to start. I mean, he's not healthy right now, but who knows how he is moving into week one. And to have a rotational piece as good as Ife is just a good problem to have. So as of now, we may not need him, and he's definitely, I don't think he should be starting. But to have a guy like Ife on your bench ready to come in, and we know what type of impact he can make, both getting to the quarterback and making plays in the secondary. So I mean, it is what it is right now. You go out there and you start Brian Branch, but if he's still a valuable piece to have.
I wonder how this all kind of ties back to Kirby. Like I think Kirby he's a ball hawk, someone that you want out there, especially on passing downs. I thought in the run game, he delivered some, especially just in general, not just the run game, but he delivered some nasty hits, some hits where he was getting some flack for. But he's not afraid of it. And I like Kirby a lot. I think Kirby in coverage can be a little questionable sometimes. And that's why Brian Branch and Ife kind of have that advantage over him. I think they're better cover safeties. But Kirby is more of a playmaker in terms of taking the ball away. Like Brian is the biggest playmaker, if you want to bring that up. But Kirby can take the ball away. So that's where it gets tough. Like they're going to have to rotate these guys, I guess, depending on what situation they're in. But I think Kirby would probably be the odd one out, I would assume. I don't know. I mean, you don't want to take him off too much because of his upside with taking the ball away.
Kirby's just such a perfect complement at free safety because you have Iffy and Branch who are more in the box guys. So they're not the athlete that can cover the space. Like Iffy can cover space, but again, he played corner. So it's hard having just, okay, now instead of playing strong safety, which he did a lot last year when he wasn't at the nickel spot, you got to move to free safety. That's a completely different position that Kirby Joseph, one, has been very good at, but this defense is used to. Like Kirby Joseph has chemistry with all the front seven guys. Like he knows what they're going to do, the timing of everything. So Kirby Joseph, I think, has been getting a lot of flack because if he stepped up, but free safety and strong safety are two completely different positions, and you can't just switch them and think, oh, he's just going to excel there naturally. Because if we're being honest, Iffy, where his strength is being able to get after the quarterback and be able to put those in there in the run game. You don't put your free safety in the box. So if you're going to put Iffy at free safety, that's fine from time to time. But Kirby Joseph is the starting free safety of this team. I don't get why people are just writing them off like that. It's like the Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as far as like they're two different running backs, but you at safety, you can play them both at the same time. So Kirby Joseph, I think, just stays on the field. The more you have Kirby on the field, the more chance you have at turnovers. Turnovers lead points to your offense and it leads to wins. So Kirby's a guy that wins you games. Like Kirby Joseph honestly plays better in big time games too. You think about the games in Lambeau, you think about the Monday night game against the Raiders, you think about when they're on the road in the LA game. Like Kirby Joseph makes timely plays for the teams that really do matter.
Hey, too, like think about what AG did with Iffy last year in that safety spot in the box, like you said, Klotzy, sending him on blitzes to the quarterback, making him just an absolute playmaker out there. Like people in the chat, everyone would be lying, and this is Iffy, unbelievable football player. Brian Branch has the opportunity, like you keep saying, Klotz, to be the best defensive player on this football team. Him and Aiden Hutchinson, like some of the best football players and defensive players in the entire league. Now you put Brian Branch in that spot where Iffy was last year, to where he's constantly going to be able to be blitzing to the quarterback, sending him, putting him in the box, making him just make plays, just be a playmaker. And now AG's doing that with a guy like Brian Branch. Like I'm sorry, but like we saw what he did last year in that nickel spot. That man doesn't miss tackles. He plays at 100%, like 150%. He's one of the best in the league at his position, in my opinion. Like now you're putting him in an even better position and on the field 100 times more. I think it's like it's a no-brainer, and it does suck because Iffy is so good, and there's so many spots on a football field. The fact that our secondary was so bad last year, and now we're having these conversations where it's like, what do we do with some of these guys? Like, puts things in perspective a little bit.
Because if you think about it, like I brought it up earlier, but with like the Legion of Boom, with Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas, like Iffy, if you look at him, he's built like Cam Chancellor. You're not asking Cam Chancellor to play Earl Thomas spot and go get interceptions. You're asking Cam Chancellor to go after the quarterback, get a pick or two here, but you're asking him to blow up tight ends, be able to match up on guys that are too big for the other defensive back. That's exactly what Iffy Melifonwu is. Kirby's not that guy. You're going to keep Kirby off the field and have two guys that have the strength of the same thing, or you want to have guys that complement each other. And one's really good at this, and he's kind of lacks there, but that's where the other guy makes up for him. So I think it's a perfect balance that they have going around with that secondary. And Iffy, like, there's so many teams like the Cowboys just rotate DBs all year, and that's why they were so good at creating plays and giving the ball back to Dak in that offense.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you with Kirby, it's just like hard to argue his like ball instincts. I mean, you need a guy with that type of instincts out there. Like I agree with you 100%, Lucas. Free safety is like he was built to play free safety. I mean, he has instincts that you want out there, especially week one. You play Matthew Stafford, and you're going to be in some big games, to your point. So I'm a big Kirby Joseph guy. But you also have Iffy and you also have Brian, so they're going to kind of battle it out. They'll all be playing. I mean, you'll have ways you could put all three guys out there, but I do agree with you. I think Kirby just you have to put him out there, at least for a majority.
Now you have depth at safety, like you have a very good depth piece.
Yeah, Branch and Kirby just perfectly complement each other.
Counts too,
and then Iffy would kind of be. They're all going to play a lot, but I just think it's the perfect complement. Two guys. Brian, what he can do, and Kirby, to your point about Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. Like, you nailed that. So I think you're spot on there.
Real quick, too, like, it's interesting, like, if they try him at nickel, like, you just have so many guys there. It's crazy to think, like, a Meek Robert. I don't know. Emmanuel Mosley's back, and they're saying that he could be back to what he was before he gets injured. Like, there's that, like, it's just I don't know. This DB room is just something else right now. Something else.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll get to some players because there's some videos here that we want to show the people. J-Mo speaking, Frank Ragnow, Alim McNeill. We'll get to Alim first. He spoke about Hutch, Levi O. So we'll get to Alim, and then we'll get to the rest of the players. But here's Alim McNeill speaking on the famous Levi Onwuzurike, the fan favorite.
This draft class
Levi
together. I mean, you know what he's been through to get back and what it took last year. What are you seeing different for him this year?
Levi, he just looks like he looks like he feels a lot better about himself. He's completely healthy. He just feels really good, and he's just being Levi. That's what Levi always was. He just wanted to make sure he got back to where he was. So what I'm seeing from Levi is what we know Levi as, and he's really doing his thing. He's doing his thing. So I'm very happy for him.
What have you seen from Aiden going into year 3 and the growth that he's shown this offseason?
That's kind of self-explanatory, honestly. Aiden is Hutch. That's Hutch. He's going to grow tremendously each year. So Aiden's been doing his thing ×2 this year. So, yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory. If you come out here every day, you're going to see a better Hutch. So.
Sorry if you asked this already, but what have you seen from Broderick Martin?
Shout the doc.
You're getting more acclimated and doing things with it.
Can't wait to see this man.
Yeah, a lot more confidence. In knowing what he's doing within the scheme. That was kind of a big thing. When you know what you're doing, you can play a lot faster. You don't have to think about things. So just him knowing his game, he knows what he has to do now. So he can just, he don't have to think about it. He just got to work on his technique. He can get into guys now. So, yeah, just a lot more confidence now.
Roger,
Yeah.
baby.
Well, Frank also spoke about the D-line, so let's hear what Frank had to say.
They all seem to be – I think that new coach has been great for them, and they all seem to be a little bit more twitchy, a little bit more dynamic. I think playing and less thinking. That's just from what I've seen, but they've all been really impressive.
Levi is a guy who's gone through some injury struggles of his own. How great is it to not just compete against him, but see him healthy and kind of see the steps he's taking?
100%. I mean, that's a guy who – I got a lot of respect for him because dealing with that back thing is no joke in real life, not even playing football, and then playing football with that to come back. And he's looked really good, really twitchy, strong, explosive, and just a great dude, so I'm happy for him.
A lot of Levi praise today.
I'm happy for
Frank
him.
and Alim.
You better show it first, Levi. But to their point, like what Frank said towards the end, as far as coming back from that back injury, it's something serious. So what we were saying about Broderick earlier about getting in shape, Levi's also done the same. So again, if he's out there week 1, you're not going to hear me, watch Levi out there. Like, all right, Levi, let's see it, because it's year 4 for him, because he was the first draft class. So year 3, year 4, it's time for let's see what he got. I'm not praying on his downfall, but I'm definitely skeptical about the trending upwards. Like I need to see it first for sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want DJ Reader to miss any time, and we hope he could be there week 1. But I mean, him not being there, you're kind of going to be able to see what you have behind those guys and see how ready that Broderick Martin, how ready a Levi is. So I mean, I was kind of with Lukas. I didn't have very confidence going into this training camp or this season as far as Levi goes. But when you hear good things, when like Alim and Frank and even Brad Holmes are talking how they're excited to see him going, it's good things to hear. Rather,
it's day 1. They kept saying, "Booner, wait for pads. We'll see what Broderick is like. Wait for pads. Wait for pads." Pads were here day 1 after the practice. One of the best players on the team, Frank Ragnow, goes up against them every single day. Levi, absolute dog. Dude's twitchy. He looks good. He's back. Levi, back. Terrell Williams, absolute dog. Has his defensive line. Has his defensive line buzzing. Like these guys, he said Williams has them twitchy. They look good. In the past, this defensive line, all they're thinking about was, am I going to be a bust in this league? Can I play? Am I still a good football player? All the defensive line coaches gone, bringing the best in the NFL. They brought the best defensive line coach in the NFL. He sat them down. He said, first of all, let's get rid of the Aquara brothers. Let's push them out. Let's get rid of those guys. Let's bring in some absolute dogs in here. And now they have some dogs in here. And he just sat them down and said, just go out there and play football. You're in the NFL for a reason. You did it in college. Do it here. Just go get the quarterback. Lose some weight. Get in shape. Be an absolute dog. And go get the quarterback. And that's what he's doing now. Like he's teaching them techniques. Like I like Terrell Williams. I hope I see him on Wednesday. I'll give him a big hug. Just like they said, he's a teddy bear. Hold that man up.
He'll be throwing you off like a rag doll.
And then I'll say, look how twitchy that was, coach. Like, I mean, what are we doing here? These guys got this D-line buzzing, dude. He's got
they probably just trust him. I mean, if you trust your coaching, like Frank said, that it looks like they're doing a lot less thinking and just more playing. I mean, when I was like, I know it's obviously not to the extreme, but just from the difference in being coached from high school to college, like it's just like if you just aren't even have the time to think about what the coach is saying, you're just listening and you're going. It just lets your development is so much quicker just because you don't have time to judge it. You only have time to see it. So if you get a guy up there like Terrion Williams who can just show you like, hey, you trust these guys and you see what I've done before. Let me do the same thing with you. And you just go out there and play ball for him. I think he's going to develop him. It's just because he can dumb down the game for him. It probably just was so much like overcomplication with the coaching staffs before. But Terrion Williams has just been around long enough to know this is what works. Here, do this. It's simple. All right, get that accomplished. Then we can kind of add on to it. But he's probably just going through all the fundamentals right now and just finding these guys' games out for themselves.
Yeah, his voice commands like a different level of respect because of what he's done in this league. It's like, I mean, no offense to the human being, John Scott, but, John Scott versus Terrion Williams. It's like there's a different level of respect from a player. If I'm Aiden Hutchinson, I'm working out in the offseason. I'm seeing some of the best defensive line gurus in the country to work on my game. So when I come back to training camp, I want my defensive line coach to be at that level. Like I'm seeing the best in the country. And then you get back and you're like, oh, this guy, I mean, it's like, okay, thanks. Teaching me a thing or two. I mean, I've already heard it, whatever. Terrion Williams, I think he's to that level to where when he says something, Aiden's like, oh yeah. That's why I think even players like Broderick and Levi, Alim, they're all going to benefit. And even Davenport. But I think Aiden will definitely benefit from him, even though he's already really good. But I think his presence, Terrion's presence, can kind of elevate him maybe to even another level. So I think Terrion Williams is one of my favorite hires. Honestly, like Ben Johnson, obviously the best hire as an assistant. And you got guys like Scotty Montgomery and Antoine Randall. But I think Terrion Williams, when it's all said and done, he's going to be up there. The impact he makes on these guys.
Hey, one thing that has to be known as well, too, is like you brought Terrion Williams in, right? The last couple of years, your defensive line group has been very young, like extremely young. Like the Aquara brothers, they were still on the I don't know if they were on the rookie deals, but like they were. Like, I think actually one of them got paid pretty well. But
yeah, Romeo got paid.
But these guys didn't have a ton of experience, and you go look at like a John Kaminsky, not a ton of experience. Like he was going around the league a little bit and landed in Detroit and ended up having a good year as a backup and got his contract. Like Aiden Hutchinson, year 3, where he's still kind of young. Alim McNeill just is having a breakout year last year. Like there was really like you were bringing in random vets like throughout the season. But now you have a guy like, even if DJ Reader's not playing right now, he's out there on the field teaching these guys stuff. He's teaching Broderick Martin what to do, and he's going into year 9 or year 10. And same with a guy like Marcus Davenport, who's going into year 7, 8, or something like that. Like these guys have been in the NFL. They know what it takes. They know like you heard Broderick or Alim there talking about. Oh no, actually we didn't hear it, but earlier at some point in that interview, he talked about having Davenport there and how Davenport's it talks to him all the time and is teaching him different things. And same with DJ Reader's out there teaching him stuff. So like these guys are, like they're taking a step forward. And I think partially of it is Terrion Williams, and you have actual legit veterans in that room who have been successful in this league and who have, whether or not they've won Super Bowls or not, they've put up numbers one way or another at some point in their career in this league. And they know what it takes. So now you're starting to teach that to guys like Levi. Oh, you're starting to put Josh Pascal around guys like that. Broderick Martin, like James Houston, like guys are starting to learn a little bit. And Terrion Williams gives them a lot of confidence, I think. So I think it's a different defensive line than we. I know I've been one that's saying like that's one of the biggest worries on this team is that other edge group. I think it might be a little bit better than we've been thinking.
Well, hey, let's get to JMO. JMO was it was nice to hear him speak to the media as well, and to kind of hear some of his perspective on what he wants to be and his confidence, his goals. So let's hear Jameson Williams.
Do you evaluate where you are with where you maybe expected or wanted?
I expect a lot more. I want to be the best to ever play the game in my position, and I'm just getting started. I'm year 3 right now. I feel like I got a long way to go. I got a lot of stuff to work on, and it's just that. I just keep my head down and keep working. I know I could be better every day at a little something. I can't be the best at everything. I'm just fast. I got to always work on something else, you know. That'd be my main thing, though, working on everything, every little thing, piecing it together, so maybe one day I could be the best.
Jeez.
I love the accountability that he had there. He's like, I'm just fast. I got to get everything else, because that's exactly what it comes down to. That's how he goes from the Jameson Williams they drafted to potentially a guy that career track. I think it's pretty similar to a guy like Tavon Austin. Now, obviously, a little bit different players, but I think J-Mo can absolutely be that if he just is able to refine his route running, get his footwork down a little bit more when it comes to short routes and medium routes, and just get a little bit more consistent with his hands. Dan Campbell already came out last year, and it's like, he's not going to be a guy that's just going to be known for his hands. He's not going to be a Larry Fitzgerald, but he can make up with that with the plays that he makes when he does get the ball in his hands. So if Jameson Williams can just refine his routes, I'll let Gentry cook here, but that's going to be a guy that I don't think he'll ever reach wide receiver 1 with this offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown here, but it's going to be one of those 1-2 punches that will scare any NFL secondary regardless of who's lined up across from him.
No, and I think you've heard a lot of it from like teammates and coaches, that you've seen the confidence level in him just go way up, especially going into this training camp. And I talked about it even to start the year, just the maturity level and how much he's grown as a player. I think J-Mo's ready to kind of take that next step. And like you said, Lukas, the accountability to kind of point out the things that, you know, he needs to work on just kind of shows the growth of him as a person and as a player. And I think he's kind of, you know, set some things aside and really locked in and focused on what it means to be a teammate and be a part of the Detroit Lions. So I think J-Mo's going to go crazy this year. I've been saying that. I've been consistent with that. J-Mo's going to be the wide receiver 2 we need. So it's just great to see him happy and having a good time, and he's going to go out and ball, man.
Hey, a guy like J-Mo, boys, a dude that has a skill set like Jameson Williams, the speed like Jameson Williams, those are number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. This guy has gone through so much the last 2 seasons. Like, people forgot for a long, long time that this guy tore his ACL and was out on a major knee surgery for a year, and they expected him to come back. Like, I think it's just when you draft a guy 12th overall, you trade up. In his rookie year, he's out for an injury, and there's those rumors saying, well, maybe he can come back, and he did a little bit towards the end of the year, and he comes back, we need him to be the Jameson Williams of old that we saw at Bama, and like that automatically right away disappoints people. And then obviously the people in the offseason who are going at him for fireworks and selling water and doing these different things and just these random things, and then that builds up. Yeah, and then all of that stuff builds up, and then you get to the next season, and then you're like, we're gonna see our number 12th overall pick. And then he gets suspended for gambling that he never should have got suspended for in the first place. So like, you see all that and you're like, like, why are people like that going at J-Mo that much? And then he comes into an offense with no, like, essentially not practicing with the team for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And he's trying to come into a top 5 offense with a guy like Josh Reynolds, who's already established as the number 2 and all of this and that. And he still puts almost 450 all-purpose yards, multiple touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in an NFC Championship game. Like, this should have been almost expected. I think people were just tainted in their mind a little bit just because of all these things that built up. No, Jameson Williams, I say it all. Go watch this guy's Alabama, his last season in Alabama. Go watch his highlights. He could be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL with the skill set he has and the speed he has. Like, he could be a number 1 in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying on this football team, because you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm not saying he's going to be your number 1, but if you have 2 talent-wise, 2 number 1 wide receivers on your offense, like, I saw a different fan base today tweet out a picture of our depth chart with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra, and they're like, this is legit the best offensive roster in the entire NFL. With the offensive line you have, the 2 running backs you have, the 2 wide receivers you have, and then you add in a top 3 tight end. Like, this dude, Jameson Williams, could have a massive year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has 1,000 all-purpose yards plus this year, and I think that's realistic too. Like, especially with the confidence he has, the plays he's making so far. Once a guy with that skill set and that talent starts getting confident, and his mind gets back to being Jameson Williams of old, it's over. It's over. That man, he's going to be extremely good for this offense.
That ceiling, Boone. That ceiling.
I think the NFC Championship game kind of was like a big confidence booster for him, kind of making him feel like he belonged, just being in that type of environment. I think that kind of helped lock him in for this season, just showing what he could be for the team. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you good.
I think that game was huge for his confidence and him moving forward. Obviously, it wasn't the outcome that we wanted or he wanted, anyone wanted. But I think that was a big stepping stone, just showing like I belong here. I'm going to be a big piece on this offense. And I think that's kind of what has carried over into this season and kind of driven him.
And you know what I kind of love, just to go off Gentry's point
go
with
ahead,
that NFC Championship game, scored the first touchdown, went crazy, but when they were like a minute left, he scored that second touchdown, was a great catch, didn't react to anything, just threw the ball. Like he wasn't making it like, oh, I just got another touch. Like he knew like what the mission was, and he wasn't trying to bring any drama to himself, even though that was a big moment for him in his career. He stayed selfless.
Why can't Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo be A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith?
They will be.
Why can't they be that type of duo? And I think they will. I agree with you, Boone. But Devonta Smith just cleared 1,000 this year, and now and Sam Laporta, obviously, I think he's better than who's the tight end they got in Philly?
Dallas Goedert.
Thank you.
Very fine tight end, Dallas
Very
Goedert.
fine tight end. Yeah, very fine, very fine. But he's not. I don't think he's an 1,000-yard tight end. He could be in a situation where maybe he gets fed a lot, but I think Sam Laporta way better. So maybe that differs it. But I agree. What you just said there, Boone. I think them two together, man. Like imagine, like let's say Sam Laporta, maybe J-Mo, and this is what I always bring up. If you want to go off who has what in the receiving core or just the weapons, I don't want to just limit receiving core. Depends how you feel about Sam Laporta and J-Mo. If you think Sam Laporta can be a 1,000-yard tight end, maybe J-Mo's at 800. But maybe you think Laporta is always going to be a 700-yard guy, 800-yard guy. Maybe J-Mo can be that 1,000-yard guy with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I think you're going to see big things from J-Mo this year, boys. We all agree there. No doubt about it.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
No, go on.
Real quick. Do you guys think he plays in the in the preseason?
No,
keep him out.
I just wanted to know because I was just wondering because remember last year he was suspended, so it was more so reps in. But
I'll say this.
He had that drop.
I think you would agree with this, Boone. I think this preseason is the biggest opportunity they'll have to find out who's that wide receiver 4, or like that's going to be their big opportunity, or 3, or whatever it is. Oh no, 4. I guess if we're going out that because you're going to have a collection of guys that are going to be competing. So that's why I don't even want anybody to play. I guess
you're going to have a lot of guys.
DPJ, Caden Davis, so on and so forth. So that's how I feel about
Antoine.
Yeah, of course, Antoine Green as well. But let's bring on our good friend Raj. He's going to come on the show, break down some Detroit Tigers. Yes, we're talking Tigers, and we're not talking about it necessarily. We're going to let Raj do it because he's one of the best in the game, and you guys can follow him on Twitter at Rajcast Baseball. He is the co-founder of Tigers ML Report, podcast host for MCM Baseball Pod. Please welcome to the show the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Raj. Let me pronounce this, Raj. All right, hold on. Rogelio Castillo. Did I get that?
Perfect.
Let's go.
Perfect, gentlemen. Man, it's been a long time, and I'm really happy to see you. You have no idea how fucking. Excuse me. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good.
Sorry, I'm fucking stoked to be here. There we go.
I love seeing you, Raj. Always good time catching up with you. I'm excited to have you back on. Good seeing you again, man.
Likewise.
Hey, Raj, we love you. I'm happy we're able to get you on the pod, and so much stuff has been transpiring lately with the Tigers, and obviously with training camp, we've been trying to cover it all, but I thought, why not reach out to the man, the guy that we know that knows it all with you. And I want to ask you to start, Raj, just kind of your reaction to just what's been going on lately. Obviously, the MLB trade deadline's coming up here with the Detroit Tigers. They're going to be one of the more active teams, but what do you foresee happening with some of the pieces here for the Detroit Tigers and some guys that could potentially be on the move? And we'll start with Scooble and what's your take on how that should play out for the Tigers?
I know there's been a lot of different websites that have talked about trading him, but the Tigers are not going to trade him unless they get equal value, or they're going to get something for him. And a lot of what Scott Harrison and I've been hearing is essentially he's asking for a lot. And a lot of these executives are just basically saying, oh, okay. And that's why I think Derek School was going to stay here, because there's this, I don't know where this thought process that came out of. Well, Derek School was going to net you these prospects. These teams are not going to pay these high level. These Baltimore is not going to give you 4 or 5 guys. I could be wrong about that. I mean, anything's possible, but the way Mike Ellis came from Baltimore, from Houston, when he was at Houston, they didn't really go against their models. They have their how they are building teams out. And I think Taylor Skubal, we love Taylor Skubal. We love the fact that he is a pitcher the Tigers have developed. That's great and all, but he's not going to fix the gaping holes on this team. I mean, there's the shortstop situation with Baez. Down in the minor leagues, you don't have a shortstop ready yet. Kevin McGonigal is a couple years away, and you have third base. And the way the Tigers have handled this too a little bit. I mean, Scott Harris has kind of been a myth with some of the local media a little bit, and it's just a really bad look. And they're gonna. I mean, honestly, it's frustrating as a Tiger. I understand why Tiger fans are frustrated. The fact that you're going to trade a guy like Taylor Skubal, who Tigers, traditionally speaking, historically speaking, have never had a left-hander like this. Not
Right.
like since Mickey Lolich in the 70s, for Christ's sake. And then they had one of their own, and you're going to trade him. And then, of course, you should get somebody like a Kobe Mayo or Jackson Holiday back. And expect anything else is ridiculous. But if Scott Harris is going to hold it hostage and these teams are just going to laugh at him, then you're just stuck basically with just nothing in your hand. And I think that, unfortunately, I hope the Tigers are not heading that way. You hope that you hear something soon. But, man, it's quiet out there.
Yeah, Raj, I've been following the last week with all this trade deadline stuff, and obviously it seems like there's two sides to the fan base, like pretty drastic, where it's, hey, let's keep Skubal and let's keep Flaherty, or get rid of one of them, and let's go pay people next offseason, and let's go out there and make some moves and bring some guys up and spend Chris Ilitch to actually spend money. And then there's the opposite side that's like, get rid of everyone, let's get the farm system built up. Let's get younger guys brought in and keep building this thing for the next few years. What is your kind of which way, I guess, would you do? Like if you're Scott Harrison, you're the, GM, what way would you go? Because I've seen both sides at an extreme. And I'm not sure, at least in my end, I think I know which way I would go. I prefer, it sounds like you would keep Skubal. I would like to keep Skubal and say, hey, let's spend some money and let's go out there and let's spend money, maybe bring some of the young guys up next year and whoever's ready, and keep the best players you have and start building off that. That's where I'm at. Where do you kind of go from there? Where's your thought process in that sense?
I'm with you there. I think you have to spend a little bit there because you have the Tigers are able to develop pitching pretty well. I mean, we've seen that firsthand with Skubal. They fixed Flaherty. I mean, he added some velocity. And so you look at even the case with Michael Lorenz last year. He was a guy they're able to flip for a prospect. And I think that with that in mind, if you're able to draft well and you're able to spend a little bit of money, I mean, look at some of the second tier free agents that are going to be coming to the market this year. The Tigers should spend a little bit because they have to. I mean, they don't have a third base option. Jace Young is not going to be your third baseman in the future. He might be playing second, but you really have to look at the fact that this trade market, I mean, everybody talks about Alex Bergman being a free agent, but if I'm the Tigers right now and I'm able to, they have to, I think they're model themselves after like Cleveland does. Cleveland doesn't spend a lot, but they have a really good farm system and they're able to churn players out. They spent on Josh Bell, but you spend wisely. That's what I think the Tigers should do. Are they going to do that? I hope so. But right now, there's so many little things right now the Tigers have to do. The Colt Key thing was a big. The sign to an extension is great, but then you have to worry about Riley Green if he can stay healthy. So I think they have to spend a little bit because you can't always bet on your farm system. You can't always, in terms of positional player talent, the Tigers right now are a little thin, and I think they have to spend in order to compete.
And Raj, thanks for joining us. I truly appreciate it. Anyone who knows me from writing at Woodward, Raj was my was my coach for all those years. So he helped me along the way. So I'm very thankful for everything he's done for me. And Raj, obviously, I know you're very familiar with the minor leagues and stuff like that. Is there any guys that you're really confident in and taking that next step that, like, once they get up, this guy's going to be ready to go?
Yeah, there's a couple guys like that. And I think that if you look at somebody along the lines of, there's a couple guys in AA right now, like Troy Melton's doing really well. I think he's a guy to look out for. Dylan Dingler, who started tonight, who just got the call up. I'm really confident. He has put together a really good year in Toledo. He dropped the strikeout rate by 10%. Started hitting the ball. Yeah. I mean, everybody's like, he's a Buckeye and all that. Who cares? I mean, the guy can hit the ball. I don't care what he does. So he can hit for power, and he's a really good catcher. Another guy who I think you should look out for is Hayu Lee, who is down in AA right now. The guy's just a master, dude. And this guy is just like, he's one of those red asses too. Like if you piss him off and you like piss off one of it, or you hit one of his teammates, he's the guy who's going to get in your face. And really like his attitude. I think Max Clark right now in West Michigan is a guy who I got to admit, I was Wyatt Langford the night of the draft. I was even visibly disappointed, but Max Clark has proved me wrong. And I'm fine with it. And but as far as like coming up right now in the next couple of years or so, I mean, I like to think that Chase Young can come up at some point too, but where do you put him then? Because I mean, you move Colt Keith to first base, but Justin Hemmerloy is a real deal. His chase rate is among league. He's actually better than league average. And so Malloy, they have some good pieces in place. But in terms of somebody that could come up next year or so, I mean, honestly, Troy Melton would be another, like I said, I mentioned him. Lyle Lockhart Jr. might even get some consideration. He's down in AAA, and Brant Handler is another pitcher as well.
Raj, you mentioned the Mud Hens. I got to ask you, that man Torque, he's been sent down there, but last night he looked pretty damn good. And I know he's been inconsistent, but do you think it's pretty clear to say that the Spencer Torkelson project is probably working its way out of the MLB, at least for the Tigers?
Talk to me, Raj.
Yeah, I know you shaved that stupid mustache, so thank God for that. You guys see that thing? I mean,
yeah.
What are you trying to do, man?
What an era.
Yeah, I'm sorry, era. Jeez, oh, Pete's. No, I
don't like the stat, right?
No, I don't like the stat. Like, look at me. Like if I shave that, it looks like it looks good on you. Like it looks good on you. You can pull it off. He can't. He just looks like a weirdo, man. I don't know. It just doesn't look right on him. But no, I want to get pumped about those numbers, but it's 4A for it's Toledo. I mean, if there's underlying, okay, there's I can't look. I'm just saying, like, well, I am talking about Dylan Dingler, but there's other things about Dylan Dingler you can go and look at. Like you look at his walk rate, you can look at his strikeout rate, you can look at numbers and go, okay, you can see what's there. There's something to be said about that. But you're playing Louisville, and Louisville's not that good. The AAA affiliate of the Reds this year is booty. And so I think if you look at it that way in a sense of competition, I think Torkelson should get a fresh start. I just think it's between the ears. I really think it is, because to me, he hasn't changed his swing. Unless you guys notice something I don't notice. And it's my goal to pay attention to those things. I don't see anything different but his swing. If the organization is telling him to fix the swing and he's not fixing his swing, then that's a true definition of insanity. You expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And it's not happening. And so I like to think that Torkelson will just get a fresh start. If Mark Canna gets moved somehow, I wouldn't be surprised that they brought him up too, just for the sake of, here you go. But I really don't want to sour on Torque. I really don't. I'm always one of those people that just tries to believe in the best, but also at the same time, also realist. And I don't know. I just don't see it happening this year that he comes up and somehow becomes the Torque of old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think that's safe. It's safe. It's safe to say that. I want to ask you, Raj, too. What do you, in terms of your opinion here? What's the next step for the Detroit Tigers, at least moving forward? Because people are more optimistic. Obviously, my girlfriend went to a Tigers game over the weekend, and there was more people there than I've seen. I mean, the last one I went to, there's nowhere near as many people as the picture I was sent. It was ridiculous. So people are showing up. People are excited. What's the next step in terms of roster construction? Just your confidence in this current regime to kind of get the Tigers back to, winning their division and trying to have real success here. At least a timeline in your eyes.
I think that it depends on what they do with this Flaherty trade. And I really, and I know it sounds really pretty early. This is being Scott Harris is early in his regime, but he's got to get this right. He really does. I mean, if whatever he does with this trade, he has to really bring it in, because I think he needs a PR win. He really does need a PR win. And then I know that sounds weird to say, but he definitely needs a. Would you calm down? Sorry, my dog's getting crazy. He's
locking in. He's locking in.
Oh
Rod.
yeah, she's a handful here, but no, it's one of those things
She
where
hears the Scott Harris talk.
she's like, "Don't you bash Scott Harris?" Hey, look at her, give him that look. No, but Scott Harris really needs to get this right, and I think the way this regime's going forward. I mean, I remember last year towards the end of the year, we did the end of the year presser. I think it was Evan Petzold asked about spending, and he gave this weird look like, why would we spend? And it was really weird, and it also gave me a bad feeling in my stomach that they're going to be the quote unquote smartest guys in the room, and I think that Harris is going to spend on guys that they really like, and they have a profile. They like even on the draft, there's certain players or certain pitchers that they identify, and they are really going to target, and they're going to get them no matter what. And I think that bodes well, but also same time, I still think it's going to also hurt Scott Harris a little bit because if he's not flexible in his thinking, other teams are just not going to take him seriously as a trade partner. I mean, it's just, to me, I think the Tigers right now Scott Harris has to get this right. If he gets this Flaherty deal done right, where he can bring something back, especially somebody who can play right away, then great, awesome. That gives the opportunity because in terms of developing talent or identifying talent, the Tigers have done have done a really good job with that. That being said, it doesn't look that way because all the, if you live on Twitter, then you're as a Tiger fan, first and foremost, get a life. And secondly, honestly, calm down. This is 162 games. Calm down. Look what AJ Hinch is doing with a 4A lineup tonight. I know they lost tonight. It's some guy you never heard of. Brian Sammons goes out there and pitches 7 innings. Like, you got to give some credit to AJ Hinch here to manage to put together this. You don't have Riley Green who's out of the lineup, and they're somewhat competitive. They're somewhat entertaining. As your girlfriend, I'm sure Jeff mentioned, it was a full
Congrats,
house,
by the way,
man.
Jeff.
Thank you. You engaged?
No. Hey, you know what, Raj? Hey.
Sorry.
Hey,
Watching the show.
Working our way, Raj. We're working our way, but continue. Don't ignore them. All right.
Yeah.
Ignore them.
All right, I think it was Lukas sitting there saying something. And I'm like, it almost like a producer in my ear going, "Yeah, it was girl."
Yeah, I waited to the Raj interview to announce it.
Big time. That's big time.
No, but in all seriousness, though, I think there's some like the development squad, and the people like Ryan Garko, people that work underneath Harris are doing a good job. It's just Harris has to just get out of his own way, really, at this point.
Hey Raj, following that real quick then, I think a lot of Tigers fans, obviously, you look at the roster the way it is. Riley Green out again right now. Kerry Carpenter, the torque obviously didn't work out. And I think a lot of Tigers fans feel like, hey, if all those guys obviously would have worked out and they would have went and bought bats before the year, maybe this is a team playing meaningful baseball down the stretch. Do you think if they play, like obviously, like you said, if Scott Harris does things right with Flaherty and all of that, do you think it's a legit chance next year? Say they don't do the Flaherty trade right, that they can be playing meaningful baseball by this time next year, and actually next season this is a playoff team. Do you think there's a chance with what they have and kind of going forward?
If the Kansas City Royals in less than a year, I mean, look at the Royals a year ago now. They have they're in playoff contention right now. If the Kansas City Royals can do that, the Tigers certainly can. I see no reason why they can't be. You can't. All the rebuild excuses, I'm tired of hearing them. I mean, in terms of I've been covering this team for almost a decade, freelance, and there's not been one time where I'm sitting there going, you know what? Like, this is the year they're going to finish 10 games with 500 as a playoff team. What just disgusted me was you have the Royals who spent a little bit of money. They didn't spend a lot. They spent enough to rebuild their pitching staff, and they build off eternally. I mean, they have a really young, good core players, Bollywood Jr., and among just a couple other players. And guess what? They are an entertaining brand of baseball. The Tigers just have to identify how to spend smartly. They don't have to overspend. Just go get some of those bats, fill the gaps, and the fan base will come out. The fan base has proven that over and over again. This fan base has come out numerous times. Just they can do it. And if the Royals can do it, I mean, the White Sox forget about it. The White Sox are a joke. But look at Kansas City. Kansas City and the Tigers are similar in the sense of having like a young core of players like that. And look what Kansas City is able to do. And then Minnesota and Cleveland, you have 3 teams over 500. And the AL Central has been a joke. And look at the AL Central this year. It's a competitive brand of baseball.
Yeah, and Roger, we obviously seen Carson Kelly get moved yesterday, and we've kind of been talking about the pitchers being moved, Scooble, Flaherty. Is there any other bats that you think would interest any teams out there? And I know you've been talking about adding bats, obviously kind of fast forwarding into next season. Is there any guys in free agency that you really think the Tigers should key in on to kind of fill their holes, obviously fielding and obviously with some bats?
You know, I know I mentioned Alex Bregman earlier. And there's, of course, Juan Soto. No, I'm just joking. That's not. What are we getting ourselves here? No, but as far as like other talents are out there that could help out the Tigers in 2024, or I like Cody Bellinger. Although how much he's going to be 29, so he's still young. Former Tiger prospect, ironically enough, Willie Adames Brewer, who the Tigers traded back in the day. I like him a lot. I think he would add he would give us some stability at short if they still don't, because they still don't have a guy who is above AA right now that can come in. Tesar Hernandez, who's having a really good year with the Dodgers. Yeah. I think he'd be a good monster bat. Tyler O'Neill in Boston, too, is a guy I've always liked as well. If you're going to add another, because the one thing about uncertainty is that look at Kerry Carpenter. We want to make sure he's healthy. He's dealing with an inflamed back, and that's always an issue. That's always like, to me, you guys know this with back injuries, and especially in hockey. Look at Mario Lemieux as an example. I know I'm dating myself with that reference, but Mario Lemieux always had back injuries or always had back problems, and that thing never went away. That shit always lingered, and that's the same thing with something like this with Kerry Carpenter. So I think they should add a bat like Teoscar Hernandez. Or even, if Matt Chapman's, I think he's available too. Or I believe he's going to be. I think he's going to be. I think he only signed a 1-year deal with the Giants. I'm not 100% about that. But either way, those are some of the names I like out there.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of all those guys. And one common theme with all those guys, they've all hit their fair share of home runs even early on in the season. So those would all be valuable additions to the team. I do agree with you.
Well, great stuff, Raj. We appreciate you, man, for taking the time today. We got to get you back on. The people love Raj. We love Raj. We get smarter every time we talk to you. You guys can check out Raj at Rajcast Baseball. And as you can see in the lower third there, co-founder of Tigers ML Report. Check them out on X podcast host at MCM Baseball Pod. Raj, we'll catch you very, very soon, my man. It was nice talking to you.
I'm proud of you guys. Seriously, you guys are awesome. I'm really glad you guys have done a really good job. Congratulations on the subscribers, the awards. You guys have definitely earned it. I'm getting all emotional. Seriously, you guys are doing a great job. Seriously, and I'm really proud of you guys.
Hey, Raj,
come on.
Thanks, Raj.
Let's go, Raj.
I love you, Raj.
Guy.
We'll go to war for you, Raj. You never forget that. All right, we love you.
My fucking guy.
Hey, by the way, too, Raj is the best Tigers coverage out there, like the best. Yeah. I saw he passed up the Detroit Tigers minor league Twitter page. Like he's has a better minor league Twitter page than the Tigers. Absolute dog.
Hell yeah,
dog.
Hey, let him cook. Raj, we'll speak to you, man. Let's. I would love to do this like once a week. Just chop it up with baseball with you. Every time
absolutely, man. You guys, anytime, man. Anytime, anywhere. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
All right, let's do it. All right, there you go. Check out
Thanks,
Raj.
Raj.
Show him some love for me.
See you guys.
He is the absolute go, man. Appreciate Raj a ton. He is, for people that don't know, at our prior employer, Raj was like the man in the background no one knew about, and he was taking care of the fellas. He was always he was good. He was just the greatest dude.
He did a ton too. Like he did a lot.
Yeah. The absolute
always checked on us, made sure we were good.
And didn't really get the proper appreciation for all he did. So not from the higher ups, that is. Obviously the people in the back did, but Raj was a huge piece of what they had going on in the start of the other company. So Raj is awesome, man.
And we should say the higher up, not with an S at the end.
Yeah.
Take the S out. Cut the S out.
Who gives a fuck?
I love Hey, Gentry. I love who gives.
How about that beard over there, Gentry?
Yeah.
I didn't expect those strays from Raj. I thought it was safe. That's my guy, but it's all fair game. He can critique. That's fair.
Hey, Mike. Hey, you know
That's
what?
My guy.
He did say, to be fair, he said it looked good on you. He gave you love.
That's my guy.
That's all you
Appreciate
can.
No, he was being nice.
Either way.
Well, fellas,
Caterpillar above your lip.
we got about 15 minutes left till mailbag. I'm going to mention this. Go ahead, Boone. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick. It's 9:36. I know we're going to do this segment and then mailbag. If anyone, I want to throw this out there too. If anyone in the chat right now wants to go to training camp tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, we have 2 tickets available for people in the chat and people watching on YouTube. We may have 4. I've already given 2 away. We had 6 for tomorrow morning. We have 2, I believe, right now, as of now. I'm waiting to hear back from 1 person. So we are giving, if you are able to go, if you don't have to work tomorrow morning, if you want to go see the Detroit Lions practice in Allen Park tomorrow with pads and all of that at 8:30 in the morning, we can do something in the chat from now until 10 o'clock. And someone can get 2 tickets. On top of that as well, if there's people in this chat who want to go Wednesday or Thursday, we have 4 tickets for each day. So please put in there if you want to go Wednesday or Thursday. But tomorrow we do have 2 for sure. So if there's someone tomorrow that can make it tomorrow morning and can get there and wants 2 tickets, I know there's probably going to be multiple people. So maybe in mailbag, we can do like a question. The first one to answer it will get the 2 tickets. And then also I do want to, we should give some away for Wednesday tonight as well. If there's people who go Wednesday, we will be there Wednesday. So we have 4 tickets for Wednesday as well.
You know what, Boone? That's why I love you, because you're ahead of it. I'm good. Yeah. We could do that. Stay till mailbag. We'll do it at mailbag. If you can go, we'll figure, maybe a question's a great idea. We'll just pop up a question. First one to answer it. You get some tickets to get down to training camp. I know a lot of people weren't able to get them, so we're going to give them to the people tonight, subscribers. If you're able to go, don't be that guy to get them and you can't go. You better
we
be
give
able
them to you tomorrow. Go. They're free tickets tomorrow, and then we also will do Wednesday tonight too if we can. We'll be there Wednesday, but just so we don't have to worry about it tomorrow, giving them away. It'll give someone some time to be.
Or maybe maybe we wait, come back tomorrow. If we
or come back tomorrow. Yeah,
some tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do another one tomorrow.
But yeah, good stuff, Boone. I totally forgot about that. But I want to move on here. Aqib Talib, shout out to him because he was giving the Lions some love last year. Fun fact, he predicted them to go to the NFC Championship game. You as well, Boone. But on top of that, Aqib Talib said it on national television. And so he's been a supporter of the Lions, obviously played with Jared Goff. He said, as a former corner, very good corner that is, very, very good corner that
Hall of Fame level.
Hall of Fame level corner. He said that Carlton Davis, who he's a fan of, and Terrion Arnold, who he also mentioned, hey, this guy got interceptions in college. He's going to be able to translate and be a very good corner. He thinks those 2 can be one of the better cornerback duos in the National Football League. That's what he said, those 2. And it made me think. I was like, okay, well, how many great cornerback duos? The first one that came to my mind would be Sauce and DJ Reed. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like more. This is more like a Klotz question, I guess, for like corner duos that are like up there in the league. I mean, if you have a great corner, whoever's on the other side, if he's decent, you're already up there. But 2 great corners, I don't know. I think Carlton Davis is a top 15 corner, and if Terrion can get to that point, I mean, you have pretty good number 1, number 2 corner there. But what do you guys think of his comments?
The Cowboys have some good corners.
Cowboys have some good ones, but they're going to give up a lot of yards. I'm trying to think of other ones off the top of my head. I think if Tariq Woolen can show up a little bit, like Tariq Woolen had very inconsistent year. There was games where he was really good. If him and Witherspoon can get connected, I think that could be really good. The Saints haven't really slept on one, and they just had to Kool-Aid McKinstry to that. But there's there's not like a 1-2 punch. Obviously, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed have been around for a while. I think they're probably like the unanimous number 1. Marlon Humphrey, I'm trying to think of who they got on the opposite side of Marlon Humphrey. Nate Wiggins, I'm not confident in that. But, I mean, it's really up for grabs, I think, outside of DJ Reed and Sauce. Like, they could easily be a top 3 corner duo in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
ETN might like it. Tre'Davious White and Darius Williams could be.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at great corners. For a second, I thought Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, but then Xavier Howard didn't,
show up.
He didn't show up. Yeah, he missed. Yeah, he was just out, and then he got cut. So I do think if Terrion this year, there's going to be some bumps in the road. But if Terrion can ultimately just he's only going to get better. But his rookie year can show like, hey, I'm meant to be here. He's just like he's a fine corner, and Carlton is also just a fine corner. That you're already up there. I think that's already. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not too many number 1 and number 2 corners that are at least just solid. So at least you got a good start. And then Terrion, I think, will only get better. At that
I feel like Aqib Talib, someone to speak on, like a guy like Terrion coming out of
Absolutely.
college. Like I'm sure he's watched a ton of film, and he obviously knows Carlton Davis pretty well. I'm sure, and now looking at Terrion Arnold, I'm sure he's seen a lot of film on him. So like if there are people out there like an Aqib Talib, like I would trust him to go out there and evaluate this corner room, and if he feels like that this could be one of the best corner tandems in the entire NFL, then I kind of trust that, and I think that's a legit like look out a little bit. And I know there's been these reports like Terrion's made a couple plays and he's also gotten beat a couple times. I said it the other day, like he is a rookie that's making the transition from college to the NFL. Just like Klotz said earlier in the show, like any transition from a different level is going to take a little time to kind of get used to. So I think that's where the Terrion Arnold things kind of go into, to where, hey, just let him get his feet wet in this. And when he does, he's got the skill set, the talent, he's got everything there to be able to make that happen. So I do think that there's a chance that like maybe the best tandem in the NFL, I don't know, but up there to where they're going to compete for it at some point. Yeah, I think so. And by the way, the NFL top 100 having Deron Bland over Sauce Gardner is unbelievable.
Wait,
unbelievable.
what?
There was a couple of them. I think he was over Patrick Surtain too, man. Like it was.
Sauce Gardner was like 36 or 37, and Deron Bland was like 32. Like it was one of the most, like I thought the list like was start with like, hey, you guys have been doing decent, and I know it's a players voted list, but the NFL the network obviously puts it together still. I think that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Just because he had intercepted, it was so bad, dude. So
I mean,
bad.
he did have a crazy year though. But as a pure corner, like he's not sniffing sauce. He did like as far as 20, he was a defensive player of the year candidate for a while though, so I can see where they're coming from. But I'm surprised that like the players are saying that he's better than Sauce.
Wow.
That whole like 30 through 40, we're gonna have to like break that down because some of those guys. I mean, even the quarterbacks that Tua was above. I mean,
I could try and find a graphic real quick to see.
Yeah, that like even Pat, like, come on, dude. Like you listen to they had a sit down with the other people from receiver, Devontae and all, Amon-Ra. When they talked about corners, I think Devontae brought up Pat like immediately. He was like, Pat. Was it Amon-Ra? Or I think it was Devontae or JJ, someone, and then Amon-Ra was like, yeah, like that dude doesn't grab. He's just straight up, I'm staying in front of you. Okay, so like Pat, I don't know how that list is factored. I don't know. Maybe the players just say like, oh, the guy was making plays.
Denver's defense was so bad last year.
That's
but
ridiculous.
He was like the one bright spot.
Yeah, and you're not throwing at Saucer, Pat. You know what I mean? You're just not. So, I mean, in Deron Bland, you're throwing at. So there's the difference. But I didn't see who any other lines that made the list. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I don't think there was any yet.
Okay.
I think eventually you're going to start seeing a couple of guys. Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra.
It's the top 30 left.
Yeah. And Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra will be in it.
Amon-Ra, that would be it.
I'm looking now on Twitter. Like NFL Films had tweeted out some of the guys' ballots because they basically write in the top 20, I think, and maybe they do more, but they released some of the guys that wrote in the top 20, and almost everyone has. I mean, I see Amon-Ra, St. Brown, I see Aiden Hutchinson, that someone voted for Aiden Hutchinson at 14 in the NFL. So the list that some people turned in are interesting.
Oh. Was Amon-Ra already there?
Where on the list I'm looking at?
Already?
Yeah, I thought he already was.
No, Amon-Ra is not on it yet. He has not been. Wait, so
is Frank not on this list?
Frank wasn't on it last year. Last year, honestly, they only had one center on it, which was
Boone got paused.
Jason Kelsey was the only one, and he was like 36 or something. That was literally the only center in the whole top 100. Creed Humphrey wasn't on it. Frank wasn't on it.
That makes sense. No love for the big fella in the middle. You know, that's messed up. But
I don't know about
Penei Sewell will be on it. I'll bet my life on it.
Can you imagine if he missed it again?
Players don't know.
There's no way, dude. Zero chance.
You'd think.
Hey, ask Aaron Donald. Let him make the list. Let
Dude
him
knew as a rookie.
Yeah, ask him. Or ask, Micah Parsons. Ask any of these guys. They'll tell you.
Daniil Hunter. That
Daniil
boy's
Hunter.
quiet against the Lions.
Montez Sweat. I think Montez did get a sack on him. Was that Montez? Or was that Rashawn Gary? Who? No.
No, Montez, like it for whatever reason, it did not count as a sack, but like Montez Sweat beat Penei Sewell, got to Jared Goff, but I think someone else got credited for it. Either
Yeah,
way,
he showed he was human.
Like
you know.
Penei was going through a gauntlet. Like you didn't really see much.
Don't know what you're
impact.
talking about.
Like
Yeah,
Don't believe it.
Fake news.
Best lineman.
Fake news.
Fake news. Fake polls.
Well, we'll get to mailbag. So get your questions ready.
Let's get some questions today. Let's go.
How about we come up with the question you'd like to ask for? I mean, we'll go to our Q&A expert here, Mike. I mean, you're the.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to you. I don't know. We need a question, a Lions question, Mike. You got to cook here.
I thought Booner would have had it fired up.
No, I don't have a question ready. Yeah, hey, just one question. Just whoever's the first one. The only way to answer it is if you can make training camp tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning in Allen Park. Answer the question. If you can't make it, don't answer it. And then whoever's the first one, we'll get connected with you and we'll shoot you over.
Don't be that guy that gets the tickets and then like sells them or something. Don't do that.
Please don't.
Please. All right. If you can go enter, we'll be more than happy to give it to you. But don't be that guy.
I think we actually have 4 available, so we'll do 2 different people because I had reached out. We did a little thing on Twitter as well, and I reached out to actually we'll do 2. We'll do 2. Now that I think about it.
All right, cool. We'll let Mike cook here.
Yeah, I know you guys put me on the fucking spot here.
Hey, watch your tone, Unc.
Sorry, nephew.
Don't gotta be
honestly. Let's just use
Hey, Stephen David's got one. Cook with this one.
Mailbag, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Really? Well,
that.
Hey, Mike, how about we use one of the questions we used the other day? Just
yeah, that's what I was.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, Jeff.
Hey, Mike. Hey,
there you go.
I got you, baby. I got you. Favorite flavor of ice cream? Obviously, cookies and cream. All right, it's not even really a debate.
Wow, Jeff, I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna go Moose Tracks.
Moose Tracks is up there.
I'm not an ice cream fan.
Of course you're not.
Bro, doing like ice cream.
You don't like ice
What do
cream?
you
French
mean you're not an
fries?
ice cream fan? What the
I
fuck
just
is that?
my teeth have always been like sensitive growing up, so I just never like was like I love ice cream. Yeah, no, that just some people have that, Klotzy.
Didn't I text that?
Mental weakness. Get through it, Boone.
Hey,
there's a couple things where you're mentally weak too. Don't make me call you out.
Where at, Boone?
I can't. Not in front of the people, dude. Yeah, you're one of my closest friends. I would never do that.
I'll give you respect.
I would never do it.
Hey, Lucas is. I mean, at least you're not Luke. I would rather you say you don't like ice cream than whatever Lucas likes. To be honest.
Did you call
Mint
him
chocolate
Lukey?
chips are great ice cream.
Yeah, if I had to have some ice cream, I'd probably do like some. Actually, no.
I got toothpaste for that. I mean, I don't
Some
need
good ones are like some type of like.
You just want as much sugar as possible. You're always getting a milkshake, always getting double chocolate ice cream, whatever it is. Simple. It's like you can get vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, cookies and cream. Like you can get it all the time. Like mint chocolate chip. I don't need ice cream that much. It's fucking good.
All right,
I will say this real quick. It's not that I like hate ice cream. Like if I'm in the mood for it, I will have it. Like I do have ice cream. Like I'll eat it. It's like once a month though for me. Some people like Jeff Iafrate eat it once a day.
No.
So like for me, it's like maybe once a month.
That's aggressive.
Maybe once a month. Maybe
You'll pull
once
over
every
to get
month.
You'll pull over to get a milkshake. We have to like
because
pry
you
you
gotta
out
think,
of a place.
I always told you this when I would eat dinner. Like for example, I go to my Nona's, I eat dinner. After there's always something to eat. There's always dessert. That's why when we go out with you,
I do enjoy good dessert.
I'm always like, fellas, like, what's next? And you're like, oh,
Jeff,
like
never
I get a little
dessert.
milkshake. Like I need a little, I need a little something after, dude. That's just how I am. I don't not all the time, but when we go out, I gotta get something, man. Milkshakes get me. I'm not gonna lie, they get me. So I gotta watch with the sweets, fellas. I do.
All right, I have the question.
Cut back a lot.
Question is ready for whatever.
All right.
How many tickets?
Whoever can make training camp, only answer if you can go to training camp, and we'll send the tickets.
All right. The question is: Khalif Raymond scored 1 touchdown last year. Who was the team he scored it against?
Oh, this is.
That's a
big.
banger. Hold on. Answer if you could go to training camp.
If you look on ESPN, I don't know. We'll be really pissed at you. Don't be
I
that
don't
guy.
even know that off the top of my head, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Don't look it up. We'll be pissed. We know.
I'm trying to think back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I think I know who it is. I'm not going to say it because it could be it, but I think I know which one it is.
Oh, here we go. Oh no.
They didn't play him, did they last year?
I've seen 3 different answers. I've seen 4 different answers right away. I've seen four different answers.
I haven't seen the answer yet.
You should. I'll be honest. If you want to look it up, go. It's really first to answer it. You know what I mean? If you just answer
Jeff,
it,
don't fucking do that.
I just giving. Who? I mean, I see some
know
different
it.
answers.
They're all wrong though.
Someone said he knew it right away, but I don't think it's been posted.
Tyler said, "I live in Canada, so ignore me."
Come on, someone's got. Can anyone go to the training camp tomorrow that can answer this right?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
I'll make it easier. Oh, all right, never mind.
Someone got it. Diggity dog. Diggity dog.
Diggity dog.
Diggity dog.
Hey,
Put in the
hold
chat.
on. Did he got it?
Yep,
Yeah.
Diggity Dog got it. Week 2 against Seahawks. He had 3
Diggity
catches,
dog.
46 yards, and a touchdown.
Well, Diggity Dog, please. Oh, he can't go.
Can't go.
Oh my god.
All right,
Oh.
Diggity Dog, you get to pick one person from the chat to gift your tickets to.
So everyone in the chat right
That's a
now,
good
there's
one.
125 people watching. If you can go to training camp,
Say
put
I
in
can
there,
go.
I can go, and Diggity Dog will pick who gets to go.
Yep, there you go. I can go. Diggity Dog, you pick. We'll give it. There you go. That works. Well, I'm going to see. Well, I want to see that this is the power dynamic of Diggity Dog. We're giving him some power. I want to see how he handles it.
Yeah,
all right.
he says okay.
All
He
right,
understands
there's
the
power.
mission.
He's locking in. He's like, all right.
Lock it in. So say I can go. What is it? Tomorrow? What time?
Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m.
8:30 a.m. Allen Park. If you can go, comment. I can go. Diggity Dog will pick somebody to give the tickets to. I see a lot of I can't goes. I see Sarah. She said
I see
can
Sarah.
go.
Sarah's
Hey,
been
my
the
vote's-
one
my
that.
vote's
No,
for
we're giving
Sarah.
it to. We're giving
vote
it.
for
Sarah,
Sarah.
Sarah, message us on Crunch Time.
She's
I'll
got.
make
She's got.
Yeah.
Sarah, message us Crunch Time. We'll send you 2 tickets for tomorrow morning.
There you go.
We're going to training
Sarah
camp
won.
tomorrow. Let's go.
You know what? Hold on. I got to get the siren here. Let's go. All right. There you go. Congratulations. You message any of our, preferably X or Instagram.
At Crunch Time. Yeah, go to our Twitter. Message our
Yep.
Twitter.
Shoot us a
give it to
message.
tonight.
And then Booner will take care of it. Hey. Diggity Dog said WTF. Hey,
I was going to say that, but you know what?
hey, Diggity Dog, can I at least get your approval? Do you approve? Do you approve? I mean, she was the only one in there that said I can go. Everyone else said I can't go. So I'm
Yeah, Diggity Dog, if you want to take it away. I'm just kidding.
Oh, he agreed. He agreed.
All right.
Yeah, he's like after thinking about it now.
You got Diggity Dog. All right, that's all that matters.
He just wanted to check us real quick. That's fair.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? You told me I could pick. Now you take it away. What the hell? Hey, well, shout out to Diggity Dog. He made the choice.
Yeah.
He said
Shout
Sarah.
out.
So
Yeah.
We will be giving away
What a
4
dog.
more. We'll be giving away 4 tomorrow. For Wednesday. So we're actually going to be there on Wednesday. We'll be there Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to give 4 away tomorrow night for the Wednesday training camp, and we as well on Wednesday. We'll give 4 away for Thursday's training camp.
yeah, so tune in every day this week, and then get a chance if you have a chance to go. We'll give out on our social media as well, if you can't. But hopefully, we'll see a lot of people there that tune in. A lot of Lions fans. It'll be fun. I can't wait. Fellas will be going down. Last time we were there, last year we went for a day. This year we're going for a couple days. Hey,
Yeah,
leveling up.
The Nashville boys.
And we got Nashville on Friday. We will not have a show on Friday. So just a heads up here. We're going to have clips posted all throughout the day, but no show. It's our last kind of,
vacation.
Yeah, vacation before
Vacation.
non-stop grind here, which we're excited for. But the boys will be going to Nashville, checking that out.
Oh, it's
Little team bonding, team bonding.
Yeah.
It's integral. It's important.
Getting
Team
after it.
chemistry plus 50% after we return. So
Coach Booner stream Thursday.
Oh, you're doing the stream. You're doing the stream Thursday, Coach
Thursday.
Boone.
It's supposed to be Friday. We have to get a stream in at some point this week. Maybe I'll do it Wednesday night. Actually.
Do it Thursday night at Jeff's, and you'll have me and Lucas there.
All right, yeah, we'll do that. Well, Jeff won't be at his house, but maybe
Hey,
he
you
can
could
set it up.
yeah, you just-
We'll
we
get
don't
it
care
all
about
set
him.
up.
We'll make
We're
ourselves
locking
at
in.
home.
Hey,
We'll make ourselves at home. Don't you worry.
We
That's
don't
fair.
care.
I might do
Saturday, we'll
Thursday night.
Make us some dinner. We'll be just fine.
I might do Thursday night show in Jeff's seat where he's sitting right now. I'm going to do it there so I can hop on the stream right after.
Ooh, alpha move.
That's fine. Yeah, you do whatever.
How about that? Oh.
Lock in, Boone.
Fellas, hey, you know what? You can do whatever. You know what? I got my bathroom over there. Just, try to go easy on it. I don't know what you.
What?
I don't like. I don't. I'm gonna be honest, boys. I don't like people shitting in my bathroom too much. All right.
Oh my
be honest.
We've been there 100 times. I think we all have 100 times.
And you guys have. It's you know what. The next morning, I had to find that out. It's rough.
That man.
What is this? I mean, this is unbelievable. What a
throwing you under the bus, Booner. That was all aimed at you.
Hey.
That's not me. I mean, Klotz, I've woken up in the morning. Klotz's in the bathroom for 40 minutes. He's like, dude, I'm going number 2. I have to it was a rough night last night. I'm like, yeah, fair, brother. But we've all been there.
No, it's fair. Hey, boys, it's the bathrooms that do whatever. All right, fuck it.
We have been.
Fuck it. Why are you making it weird, Lucas? Why are you making it weird?
You're acting like bathroom boys. Do whatever you want. I don't know what goes on in there, but do whatever you want.
No. Don't add dialogue. Don't add more. Don't add more. I don't know what goes on. I never said that. I said if I'm not
I don't
here,
know what you guys do in there.
You guys gonna be blowing up my bathroom, making this. Do your thing. Make yourselves at home. I'll be back, and then Friday morning we're off. We're leaving. 9-hour drive to Nashville. So
yeah,
hey, it should be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any more mailbag questions? I didn't even see. I don't even know if we
by
had
the way,
any
just
questions.
DM Booner. So we got. She's saying the DM there. And we'll also all be at training camp. So I know. Yeah. Okay, Lucas, fit your narrative. All right. We'll all be at training camp. I know Coach asked that. We'll all be there. So
Wednesday and Thursday, all the boys.
Both days. And I think we got another day, right? In August.
We've got we're going Wednesday, Thursday, the 11th of August and the 14th of August. The 11th, I believe, is that Sunday, I think, Jeff, right? Or is that the 14th? One of those two is the Sunday. There's going to be like a kind of like a meet and greet, or like kind of like getting together with different creators, and fans and anyone listeners are able to come. I think we're going to do like maybe it sounded like a tailgate type situation on Sunday and kind of go out there and do that. So as it gets closer, that's a little ways away. I mean, there's going to be some preseason games until then, so we're going to do that, which should be fun.
Let's do it. I can't wait, man. I'm Mailbag. Who is the worst driver?
Yeah, I was gonna do the same thing. I think it's I think everybody drivers, Booners without a doubt, wild driver.
No, it's I'm a NASCAR guy. I'll race you guys and beat all 3 of you, and I'll destroy you.
Yeah, well, that's
I
why
drive like I'm a NASCAR driver, F1 driver. That's how I drive.
When we went to Indiana, I think you only have to make like 3 turns the whole time. It's pretty much like one road. Boone managed to miss about 3 or 4 exits. That doesn't do many turns on the way there, so
that doesn't make me a bad driver. I'm just bad with directions.
He'll get you there. One thing I will say, he'll get you there in a timely manner. He will get you there when you need to be there.
Has this been a conversation that I'm a bad
wrong
driver?
Turns, but he'll make up for it by
no.
speeding.
Honestly, hey Boone, I was co-pilot with. Hey, me and you we were vibing, Boone. I didn't notice anything. Honestly.
Who put me on the screen that I was a bad driver? Who was that?
It wasn't me. I was going to, but the job.
Let's talk about let's talk about the one on the in the group that drives like a grandma, straight up, 2 hands on the wheel, huh?
That's Klotz.
That's Klotz. Like, let's talk
about that. When you pull up Klotz, he's like,
yeah. Hey, I used my dad and I built a Camaro back in the day, and I had my fair.
You built the car doesn't mean you know how to drive it.
Thing. I don't. When I drive, I just like relaxing. If I need to speed, I'll speed. But if there's no reason to speed, I'm just chilling.
That's what I said. Lucas vibes when he's in the car. No speeding.
I'm just relaxing. I'm not in a rush. I leave plenty of time early. I'm good at getting places on time. And if I leave time, I leave time for mess ups. If I miss a turn, I don't got to stress. Okay.
Jesus.
There you
go. All right. Well, hey, Friday I'll be driving. All right, you boys trust me. Is that fine? Is that all 3 of you?
I thought I was starting. I thought I was starting.
Honestly, Gentry, here's the problem. All right.
Oh, here we go.
I kind of like driving. You're definitely the guy next up. If I'm being honest, no offense to Lucas or Boone, but I'm giving it to Gentry if we need another driver. We'll see how that morning is. We'll see. Hey,
Fair.
I might need you. I might need you, Gentry. I might need you.
I'm
It might
here
be
if
a
you
rough
need.
one. All right, let's do it. All right, we appreciate all you. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate Raj for joining the show. A lot of training camp, good conversations today. Tomorrow we'll be back. And we'll give away more training camp tickets. Congrats to Sarah for winning the 2 today.
Hell yeah.
But we'll catch you guys, man. Stay blessed out there.
Love you guys.
Thank you for supporting, and we'll catch you next
Lukas or Booner.
Love you guys.